Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Let me be clear, from my perspective, college athletics is not broken. College athletics is not broken. It is under stress. It is strained. And the answers we seek are tied into the complexities that have been referenced over time. I went back and read my remarks from this podium or others over the last few years, and pretty consistently have identified the challenges ahead with some of the decisions that we may have to make.
Good morning. Welcome into Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centrist Federal Credit Union. That's Austin Jacobsen. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What's up, Austin?
I am feeling good. How are you?
I'm doing better.
Okay, where are we at out of 10? I'm gonna pulse check you every morning now.
I think I'm at about a 6.
Okay, I'll take that.
I'll be honest, it was a little.
You had a tremendous rise yesterday, so if we start at 6 today, that means we'll get to like 8.5 by the end.
Hopefully, yeah. We don't have an energy drink today, just regular diet soda. So we'll see how that goes. I will say I'm never gonna be the complain about the guy who has to golf for work. I'm not.
Right? Yeah.
It was very hot,
brutally hot yesterday.
Yeah,
and it caught up in a. It was quick.
Yes.
It was very fast with it.
It was. So it was. I had a golf networking thing yesterday, and so it's a scramble. You're out there for 5-ish hours, and to be out in the sun for 5 hours yesterday was pretty warm.
Yeah,
it was a lot.
Yeah. Never the best. But
so I'm a little tired. That's my point.
Yeah.
No, nothing wrong with it. It was still bad day golfing for work's better than a good day working for work, right?
Right.
So I totally acknowledge that. It was I was pretty beat by the end of it.
Yeah.
Like the energy stores were pretty low. And as you know, I didn't start off super high yesterday.
Yeah.
So there's a cumulative effect.
It's almost like those days when I remember being a kid and we would come back from a day at the lake, maybe over the weekend or one of those longer weekends in the summer, and my dad would need to go to work the next day, and he was just beat up. And he could never complain. He was a state trooper, so he could never complain and just be like, yeah, sorry, guys. I was at the lake too long yesterday. Yeah. I can't go out on the road today. I can't do anything. It was just very funny to be able to see like that now through you about how, I was out in the heat and the sun all day, but I was golfing, and I'm just I'm beat up.
It is kind of, you feel dumb even saying it, but just being outside in the heat for that long, is exhausting.
Yeah.
Like I've been, a friend of mine had a pool party a couple of weeks ago, and it was very leisurely. It was a great time, but I was exhausted, and I literally just laid around all afternoon.
That's good.
It was so much fun, but it was also, by the time you're done being in the sun for a few hours, it's like, God, I'm really tired.
Do you ever have those thoughts? This happens to me all the time. I'll do yard work or mow the lawn or something like that where I'm out in the sun on a warm July day. It's like 90 degrees. And I always think to myself, how did people survive this when they couldn't just walk inside to go to air conditioning after this?
Constantly.
Right? Like I try to imagine myself being a pioneer, like crossing the plains and just, still got to get to Oregon. We got, a couple more states to go.
Austin would have died of dysentery.
I would have.
For sure. No,
Oregon Trail, underrated game, by the way.
Oh, that's like my childhood. We played whenever.
You should have done that for your Middle North reunion.
We should have.
Played the Oregon Trail.
We should have. That was like in elementary school or middle school when you got your work done early. You're like, okay, you can play Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
Like, yes. Or did you guys? I might be dating myself.
Oh no, hold on. Can I guess?
Yeah.
Is it rolling out the TV on the cart? Is that what you were going to say?
Oh no.
Okay,
Although that was normally great, there were sometimes it was a little traumatic, but.
I was still a projector. I was part of the projector.
Oh, you had like
generation.
overheads? Oh, there you go. Yeah. I appreciate that
Those
a lot.
Those were the best.
I appreciate that a lot, actually. No, the other game that we would play on the school computers, we had a game called Dino Park Tycoon.
Oh, okay. So it's like the roller coaster tycoon?
Yes.
Okay.
Roller coaster came later.
Okay.
Which we did play that one later. But yeah, you basically built Jurassic Park, and we're trying to run a business.
That's awesome.
It was incredible. It was the best thing in the world.
I remember doing the roller coaster one, and I would never finish the roller coaster. So
people just they
just fly off, and you would always get the reports. You need to finish this. No, I don't think I will. I'm just going to open another hot dog stand right next to it. It'll be good.
You should build it so they land in the hot dog stand.
Those are the best. I love that. TK, there's a card game version of Oregon Trail, which is awesome to play. That was fantastic. I actually messaged TK yesterday because I just needed I needed a different voice coming in through my DMs.
Yeah.
And I understand why Damon rides with them so much, because he was very level headed. I needed that approach yesterday about midday.
No,
it was good. I appreciate that.
I like like I said, I've met TK.
Yeah. And he's got Dr. Dentist. I've got Dr. Girlfriend. It's an incredible.
He's got dentist wife.
Dentist wife.
Yeah,
true,
he's got dentist wife.
Yeah, Dr. Dentist. What am I doing?
I don't know, man. I was like, he seems like you've been
I basically just said doctor. That's what I did.
Give me the news. No, it was
underrated. That was good. That was good.
I just Googled this Oregon Trail game. We may have to play that. But no, TK is a good dude, and even though I disagree with him sometimes, like he is generally very level-headed, which I appreciate. But to kind of get to that, you got beat up a little bit online.
I did,
yesterday.
yeah. That's okay. That's fine.
That's part of the job.
Fine. It's fine.
It's part of the job. It was
really my first experience with it too.
Really?
Yeah. I got a lot of classics. Podcast equipment isn't expensive enough. Those are great. I always appreciate those.
Sure.
Not
everybody needs a podcast.
Little do they know that this is a regular show. That's fine.
Yeah.
I also thought it was great too. And I could have taken many different routes. I tried to play the I'm hearing everyone out. I kind of did the WWDB, like, what would DB do?
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I was just listening to people out. I tried to respond as I could. But after a while, you just keep saying the same things, and everyone wants to pile on in that moment. The great part was, though,
hold on a second.
No, go ahead.
So you're telling me that you found arguing with people on the internet was not a terribly productive exercise?
No, I spent too much time doing that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I do too.
That was the unfortunate part.
To be fair,
that was
anyway,
the unfortunate
continue.
part. Yeah, but so this was the first time in my life that my troll activity did catch up to me. So I want to be very clear, and I was so close to texting Damon this too, and just saying I've learned my lesson. But here's the truth. The funny part about it too is I
certainly have not learned.
No, I haven't. No. But the best part about the entire thing was usually that's my role to make those sort of clips, and now I understand. When you guys text me and be like, what did you do in this?
WTF, Austin?
Because I completely understand. I had nothing to do with that clip. It was taken out of context of maybe a 3-minute conversation we had in the 3-hour show.
Yes.
It was exhilarating to have that experience. Oh, my favorite too. I have a new tagline that people are calling me. They're like, oh, well, he's just a Creighton guy. That's why he said that.
Dude.
Which I don't, but famously I've said on this show many times, I moved to Omaha, and I didn't even know where Creighton was.
Yeah.
So if that's what I'm labeled as, totally fine with that. Because then people are just they're just saying that to say it.
So it's very funny, because if you ever do, I'm going to give you a little life lesson.
Please,
here.
yes. You've got years on me.
Yeah, I do. Like a decade. But if you ever do any Creighton media at all, you will 100% be labeled a Creighton guy.
Dang.
Like, Nick Baugh's entire family played football for Nebraska. All of them. And he played 2 years at Creighton and is a basketball guy. So Creighton guy, Nick Baugh. Hates the University of Nebraska. John Bishop, play-by-play voice for Creighton basketball.
UNL grad.
Yeah, went to UNL.
Worked for the Huskers radio network.
Yes. Like literally worked for Nebraska. Went to school with greats like Kevin Kugler, right? Like, this is a guy that, he's not from Omaha.
Yeah.
Right? Creighton guy. Hates the University of Nebraska. Myself.
Creighton guy.
Grew up. And listen, out of all of them,
You're probably the most Creighton of them. And that's fair.
Nick does love Creighton basketball.
That is fair.
Right? So, but still, I don't have the background with the University of Nebraska that Nick does. So, I come up doing Creighton shows.
Yeah.
Because that's what's available, right? Like that, you do the jobs people will offer you.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
If somebody wanted to offer me a job at the Husker radio network, I would have been thrilled.
Right. Yeah.
That'd have been terrific.
And that's, not to get back into an already beaten dead horse that's rotting at the corpse now, but when Kyle Crooks was hired and people had that, just beef immediately because he's
not a Nebraska guy.
He's not from Nebraska. That made no sense. And I'd even replied to a couple of people saying online, oh, well, he's not from here, so how is he going to get it? Do you think any of our jobs in broadcasting or whatever, do you think we just sit and wait for the one place we've lived our entire life to offer us? No, you have to go other places and you have to get different experiences.
I kind of did, but
I mean, You waited a long time.
I did wait a long
You waited like 2 high school reunions before you got there.
Like one, but
and
it
a
was
half?
in between the
Okay.
first and the second,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, it's
And what
also
so if Crooks wanted to do play-by-play football for that level, right?
Yeah.
And he's from New Jersey. What was his goal? To wait until the guy for the Giants or Jets retired and then just
Or
hang out?
Rutgers.
Yeah.
Also, I mean,
and hope that he gets picked? No, he moved. He went to a different university, went to different places. He got new experiences, and now it's led him to this place, and I think people are going to love him.
we famously forget Greg Sharp, not from here.
Yeah.
And we gave him a very hard time on the front end.
I don't remember that. I was too young for that.
It
but
was
yeah.
a real thing.
Wow.
He came in mid-season during one of the Callahan years, towards the end of the Callahan. It might have been the last Callahan year. It was messy.
He was a Big 12. It was a Big 12 school too. So
Yes,
that
it was going from Kansas State to Nebraska. It was a messy situation, and he got beat up for it.
Yeah.
And look how we ended up feeling about Greg Sharp, right?
Yeah.
So I understand. There's people like Damon who are born here, raised here, played here, love it here, right? Those are the exceptions, right? Even people like me, born here, raised here, love it here, stayed here. Like, those are the exceptions. That doesn't mean I do think most other people care less than I do just because I'm a weirdo, but that has nothing to do with where they're from. It's just because I'm weird, right?
Yep.
And so, like, that's a big part of it. I mean, look at Coach.
But that's the thing, though, is like that's the biggest crutch against all the people that were tweeting at me yesterday, that have come at you for different things that like you have said. Even people that like have tweeted at someone like Damon, who is from here, you're pure red blood Nebraska, like all the way through. He dies for the university every single day on this show. He will defend it like with his honor and with its honor. But those same people, because they're also from the state, because they're also they have their own experiences wherever they came from, they feel also the need to defend something that they're so nostalgic for. And I completely understand.
I get it. I do.
Yeah. People come after like my hometown, and I immediately bristle up because of it. Like I can spin it into a joke and everything, but I loved my experience in Sydney, in a small town.
Sydney represent.
And Sid Rock, baby. SISID. But every time something would get brought up, and it's even to the point where I can hear someone talk positively about Scotts Bluff, and I have to be like, oh, I don't know. Because it's my natural reaction, right? I understand, and I understood why people would get upset with me claiming that one of their favorite childhood experiences, their nostalgia, and everything with Memorial Stadium would upset them in that sense.
So I have a somewhat similar experience with Rosenblatt here in Omaha. People, especially right when it was announced that it was going to close, and then the first couple of years of, at the time, TD Ameritrade, now Chuck Schwab Field, I was adamant that it was the right move because Rosenblatt kind of sucked. It was an incredibly nostalgic place. I spent so many summers out there. Like, I loved my experiences at Rosenblatt. I can also acknowledge that the entire place smelled like a was some people were like, I mean, it's hard to compare when you self-admit.
Fair. Great point.
That you hadn't been to an SEC game.
Yes, that was fair. But I think a lot of people also misinterpreted when I had said, I can also read. I can also watch other things to see what other people are doing at their stadiums in between breaks.
No, I know.
But I completely agreed with when everyone said he literally just said he did not ever go to an SEC game. That's completely fair.
I would make the argument a lot of atmospheres are very different on television than they are in real life, right? I mean, there's a lot of things that just don't translate as well to TV as they do in person. So I do think that's fair. I do apologize. It appears there was some sound issues. Again, we're working on it.
I think we should be good now. I think we got it. So
trying to get that figured out. But TK says there's a cyber attack hitting Hurrdat Sports show.
And the terrorists have officially been defeated by the brave Shane.
In retaliation for your take yesterday. No, it's
Shane, thanks for protecting us from the audio terrorists.
It's it's a big deal. It's a big deal to try and make sure that we stay on the path of the righteousness. Coming up on the
keep watering the bamboo.
That's right. Coming up on the show today, we're gonna talk. It's just around the corner here, a couple weeks away, 3 weeks away, I think, actually, from Thursday, 2 weeks from Thursday. I don't know. It's coming up soon here, the 4th, August 4th, Pinnacle Bank Championship. We're gonna talk to Gary Java. He's been working with Pinnacle Bank Championship for a long time. We love talking to Gary, I don't know if you know this, former Sports Talk guy.
Okay,
Gary
cool.
Java. So we'll talk to him at 8:30 about the upcoming Pinnacle Bank Championship. And then at 9, we've got our regular Mike Schaefer, Husker 24/7. And then Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Kenny Bell will join us at 9:30. Also happens to be a Hurrdat Sports team member.
I'm very much looking forward to our talk with Kenny.
I am too. Yeah, as I mentioned yesterday.
What should we? So I know you want to stick with like the Hall of Fame stuff.
We're going to stick with it, but I wanted to. So I mentioned yesterday when I had my conversation with him, the Hall of Fame information wasn't public yet.
Right.
So when that aired on Friday, we didn't talk about it at all. So I wanted to make sure we had an opportunity to at least talk to him about it. We don't have to stick on that by any means.
I was going to say, I have like one specific playing day question that I've had for him forever.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he has a very quick and fast answer for it, but I've always wondered it. So I'm ready to get to that.
You got that one holstered up, ready to go?
Yeah. So, and by the way, I know we mentioned it, but Rico's on leave right now because, again, congrats. He didn't have his third kid.
Yes, his wife had the third child.
I mean, he was just around hanging out there. But it was making all the lower thirds and such, and it's a thrill. It's a good time. It's fun. I understand why Rico enjoys that so much because you can get real creative with it. And you try to find like fun statistics and stats, and then you realize you spent an hour not doing really anything, and you're just Googling Kenny Bell highlights. You're like, okay, well, I need to get back.
Facts.
Yeah, I need to get back on this, but yeah.
I've just spent an hour just watching Kenny Bell. That's wild.
Well, I said it yesterday. This is highlight season right now.
It is.
I'm still in the middle of all of the different types of highlights you can acquire and get into.
We are also deep in list season.
It is very much.
We are deep.
You sent me 3 lists yesterday.
I did. We are deep in list season. We're deep in highlight season. There are a couple things I want to get to. Let's take a quick break here, though.
Are we also deep in countdown season?
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah.
It is,
I think 45 days was
45
yesterday.
days, the greatest player to wear number 45, all of that.
Yeah, we've heard that.
Yeah, we've had it is countdown season as well. Let's take a quick break there, though. Phil Steele had a list about Big Ten schedules and where Nebraska lands on that. I want to get to that. We've also got the Cold War between Big Ten and SEC continues to simmer, as Greg Sankey spoke yesterday at SEC Media Days. So
Thanks, Greg.
We'll get to that as well. That's Austin. I'm Ravi. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
Carrie Howard here with Harrison Phillips. Harrison, this is your 7th Playmakers Camp here in Omaha. As you grow in your NFL career, why has this always remained a priority for you?
You know, it's really special. I don't know what jersey I'm going to wear each season. It's not really up to me. I'm very happy that I've been a part of 2 great organizations. But something that's forever true is this is my high school, and this is where I'm starting a family. I'm building a home here with my wife, who's a Millard West grad. We just had a child who's going to grow up a Nebraskan, and this one means the most.
Standing here in the Millard West gym, what do you think the high school version of you would think, knowing you'll be doing these camps in the future and where you went to high school?
Man, the high school me was pretty cocky. I would say he'd be very proud of himself. I always spoke really big goals and set them really far off. I was kind of laughed at a little bit, being a little freshman saying I'm going to play in the NFL and get full-ride scholarships and stuff. But I worked my ass off to make that happen. So I'd be really proud, and I think the most important thing is bringing others along the way. So being able to be out here to these high school students, a thing that I wish I had. I wish I had someone that I could have asked about what it's like going to college, what's it like to get to the next level. And so when we bring these Nebraska football players out and these high school kids, I want to be a resource to them as well as use my platform for these pups.
At Centrist Federal Credit Union, we have the tools and resources to help our members fulfill their financial goals. With a focus on building a stronger community for the next generation of leaders. Centrist Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
What makes Banana Ball work so well in terms of the fans, the support, and everything that's gone with it?
I think it's just the breaking down the barrier between fan and player. When you go to a Major League Baseball game, even though there might not be a barrier, it might just be a net, there's a distinct barrier where like players and fans don't really interact during the game. And we're bringing fans onto the field, into our game. Like every fan that comes to our game is going to be involved somehow. Every single one of them. They're all going to be involved if they want to be. So I guess that's my advice too. When you come to a Bananas game, be open to doing anything. Don't say no to an opportunity. My niece actually, we do a fan warm-up before every game. We have a little girl come on the field and dance, and the whole stadium follows the dance moves. My niece said no because she was nervous. And to this day, every single day I see her, she's like, I want to do the fan warm-up. I want to do the fan warm-up. So like, when you come to a game, just be open to doing whatever.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centrist Federal Credit Union. That's Austin Jacobsen. I'm Ravi, Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, reminding you if you're out on the roads this morning, make sure you are not distracted. Keep those eyes focused and straight ahead. You've got one job as a driver, that's to drive. This message from the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Do you have any traffic issues today?
No, actually not bad.
Yeah, mine wasn't too bad, but
I
was concerned because it was backed up more than I expected it to be. Because yesterday it wasn't. I'm so confused about these I-80 and.
I've stopped taking 80.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're completely off it?
Well, I can't trust it.
That is true.
I can't trust the amount of traffic it's going to be until they clear up the construction over on the Giles exit, so I just skip it. I know how long the other way is going to take me, which is more important than, like, sometimes it's a little faster, sometimes, so. Okay, so we have to rewind here. Sometimes things happen during the break that need to be brought to light on the show.
Right.
You said a term right before we came back on the air that I don't think I've heard anyone under the age of 78 say ever.
What did I say?
So we were talking about, are you a big like home run derby guy?
Yeah.
So we're talking about the home run derby, and there was a kid yesterday. We can get to the rest of it.
Yeah.
There was a kid yesterday that I had missed. You showed me. He robbed a home run ball, which is incredible.
Yes.
Like, I don't. If
Go for it, King.
Yes, absolutely. Like, shoot your shot. It's really funny, honestly, and a great move by him. Really proud of him. He did the reverse Jeffrey Mayer, which I don't think you were alive for.
No, I was not.
You know what I'm talking about, though?
No.
Okay, cool.
I'm just assuming I wasn't. Anything that happened before my lifetime didn't happen to me. So.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense. Jeffrey Mayer was a kid at a Yankees game in 1996, and he interfered with a ball in the
This
AL.
isn't the Cubs guy?
No.
Okay, gotcha.
That was a foul ball.
Oh,
this was a home run ball hit by Derek Jeter in 96. That was not a home run. That Jeffrey Mayer reached in, brought it back over against the Orioles, and then they didn't overturn the call because it was Yankee Stadium and whatever cheaters. Anyway, so this is the reverse of that, where the kid took away a home run ball. Anyway, so you said we were talking about how we both are like, oh man, go for it, kid, get it. And you said, yeah, I don't understand why people are giving the kid gruff.
I can't expand my vocabulary a little bit.
I mean, you're more than welcome to. I didn't know that you were using a thesaurus from 1938, but that's fine. I was taken aback.
Sorry, me and my grandparents hang out and get Sunday supper every once in a while. We just hang out, and I learn some of their verbiage.
Me and Pappy are going for an ice cream cone.
And you know where the best place to get an ice cream cone is? The gas station. That's where we go.
That's because you don't have any other places to get ice cream in Sydney.
There's nothing better than going to visit my grandparents. They say, we'll take you out for the best cup of coffee in town. We just go to Casey's.
You go to the gas station. Literally, when I lived in Ashland, I think I've said this before.
Yes, I think we've only talked about it before.
Yeah, because you're a big gas station coffee guy, apparently.
I'm huge.
It's a small town thing. No, they literally I would go there because it was the only place I could get anything to eat in that town.
Yep.
At the time. I've heard it's booming now. Terrific for them. Doesn't help me at all. So I'd go get breakfast pizza there or whatever, which is as good as advertised.
Right.
And there was always these same somewhere between 3 and 6 guys just drinking their coffee. Then they had a table for them.
Yeah.
Gas stations with a table for people is the wildest thing in the world.
Yeah.
I think they had a booth.
Yeah, well, and they're always in the most awkward positions too.
Yeah,
they're seated next to the motor oil and donuts.
Can I scooch by you here?
Hey, sorry, let me just move right on.
Just let me scooch by you.
Are you a big ope guy?
Yeah, it's
gotta hit him with the ope.
I can't help it. I don't even mean to. It's a totally it's like breathing.
Yeah. Yep.
Ope is the Midwestern version of word breathing. Just it comes out, you don't even know it.
The worst part is when you don't realize it when you're inside of the state, but the minute you travel anywhere, you just get hit with the opes every once in a while.
They stare at you like, what?
Yeah. What are we doing?
What's an ope? Who are you?
Ope, I always do the swim move with it too. I always go, ope, let me just get on by.
I do kind of like the shuffle. Just shuffling on by here, just trying to get skinny.
I've gotten in trouble with the shoulder pat. You can't do the shoulder pat all the time.
No, some people don't like being touched.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And I learned that very quickly. That was a crowded college bar scene, and you go, hey, buddy, let me get by you, and you do the little pat, and I try to do a swim move over. They'll grab you by the arm sometimes, and you get nervous.
Like, hey, bud.
Yeah.
Hey, bud.
When you get hit with a hey, bud.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
Yeah,
that's
not good.
You got to start backpedaling.
Yeah. Unless they're.
You got to get your Darrell Revis game right and start backpedaling.
Put them on an island.
Try to get off that island. You know what I mean? Flip the hips, get out of there.
Bang.
No, I generally will only do the shoulder touch if it's a situation where I know people.
Yeah.
Where it's like a familiar situation. Like, excuse me, bud, let me scooch by you here. I'm also a big scooch guy.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. Scooch on by you?
Yeah, I usually double up, but it's definitely.
You hit him with the open scooch?
Yeah. It's definitely always one. Often it's both. It's never neither.
Yeah, right?
It's either, let me get by you here. Let me scooch by you here. Oh, hey, let me scooch by you here. It's never, excuse me, sir, may I get past?
Yeah, once you go too formal, then it just sounds like you're up to no good.
Pardon me.
I want to see the Adam Sandler movie where he just does Midwestern.
You give him
speak the entire time.
You give him the bow.
Yeah.
Pardon me. May I get by? No, that's never happened. That's literally never happened in the Midwest ever.
No.
It's not a thing that will ever happen.
Nope.
And if it does, we will burn it to the ground. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't you ever say anything bad about our Midwestern vocabulary. Take that back.
TK says the go-to move is the dip and rip or the bull rush. That seems aggressive. That seems aggressive for the scenario, TK.
Oh, that's so funny.
If you're bull rushing in that situation, like, you may end up with more problems than you started with.
Now, out of context, we have to be very cautious with Todd's comment. If you're feeling really creative, drop the R. We can't be doing that. Yeah, you gotta make sure we're clear. We're using the word gruff.
Only in the gruff.
Only in the
guff.
gruff. Yes.
Now, I will say guff is an older sounding term than gruff.
So if I would use guff, you would have been even more appalled.
Not appalled, just shaken.
Your core.
All of my flabbers would have been gasted.
I love those. That's fantastic.
Would not have been prepared for it.
Great segue here.
Yeah.
You know what else flabbergasted me?
Cal Raleigh winning the home run derby?
I was going to say Phil Steele, but that too.
Oh, okay.
You can't be shocked that a guy with the big dumper won the home run derby.
So,
come on.
Listen.
Come on.
I've talked about this with DB a little bit. I have some mixed feelings about Cal Raleigh.
Is it the nickname?
No,
okay, good.
I think it's fine. I don't think it's going to, at some point, if I were him, I'd probably be a little sick of it, but it's fine. My issue is, so he played for Florida State. Everybody knows I have an affinity for Florida State, both baseball and football. But ironically enough, the
not basketball.
No, I don't care about their basketball teams at all. I don't know why. Just never have.
Interesting.
But the having more home runs at the All-Star break than he's ever had in his life for an entire season just feels a little sketch to me.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? Generally, 28-year-old catchers don't all of a sudden have a power surge.
That's true. Yeah.
Basically projects him to double his home run total.
Maybe he just hit a bunch of squats this offseason.
I mean, listen, he's got good power, especially for a catcher. He's a legit mid-30 home run guy for a catcher. He's at 38 at the break.
Yeah.
Like, he's on pace for mid-50s. Now, he'll probably slow down a little bit because catcher's a demanding position. Like, he probably – like, if he gets to low 50s, I think that'd be a really good year
Catchers
for him.
are kind of on the rise recently the past couple of years.
I know, but it's – I mean, just from the taxing –
that's true.
Like, it's a taxing position, right?
Yeah.
I think it's hard to maintain that level of power over the course of the season.
Salvi didn't have like that. It wasn't that long ago that he was in the Derby himself.
I know, but what would you guess? No offense, you're not going to be as good as the DB is.
Yeah, right.
This
is going to be horrendous.
What would you guess Salvador Perez's career high in home runs is for a season?
In a season?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to be a DB on this one.
I haven't looked yet.
So are you saying this like in relation to Cal? Like
yeah, in relation to, like, I think Cal's a much better power hitter than Salvi.
Yeah.
Was
he like 32?
I haven't looked yet. I'm looking at his career numbers right now.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if he cracked 30.
Okay.
So we're gonna look. We're gonna find out here.
I feel like that
together.
Was it 2 years ago?
Live, real time.
Yeah, I feel like 2 years ago. And you're notably a great Googler, so I'm sure you have it already.
Oh, he has that one. Okay. So
yeah.
He's got a weird Cal Raleigh year too.
I told you, catchers have this. Like recently, they've been on like a little run.
So he hit 48.
Oh God. Okay, so I was off.
In 2021, he has not cracked 30 in any other year.
Yep.
He's got a little
41 and 21. 48 and 21. That's crazy.
That's bonkers.
Wow. That is incredible.
His next highest year is 27.
That was notably also the home run derby year that they just ignored him the entire time he was out there mashing shots.
Yes.
And they just were talking over him, doing interviews while he was out there.
Listen, they're just
the production value of the home run derby.
They're sleeping on our guy.
If you want to talk about the actual highlight reel season, old home run derbies are some of my favorite old broadcasts to watch because those announcers just went bonkers and they were locked in the entire time. It was the best.
Yeah.
Just the best.
TK says more roids, less shifts. That's his opinion on baseball. I will say my favorite home run derbies are like late 90s, early 2000s home run derbies where those guys just have like, I think the needles are still sticking out of them while they're hitting. I think you can.
The duffel bags are just behind them.
You know how you can sometimes see like a thing of dip in somebody's back pocket. They got like the little round thing there in their back pocket. You can just see like there's vials just lined up in their back pockets. That's why they don't crush them. They have to slide head first. No, so like I think it's 99 at Fenway. Is this like iconic, and it's at Fenway, so obviously I like it, but is this iconic where they're hitting home runs just into the street. Like it's McGuire and Sosa and Griffey, and they're just hitting absolute bombs. And that to me is where not just the home run derby, but I think civilization peaked.
Fair, good point.
1999 All-Star break at Fenway Park. I think that
Thank you,
was.
Al Gore.
I believe that would have been one of the last Clinton years. So technically Al Gore would have been involved. However active you think vice presidents are. There. That's a weird political science joke. It's fine. I don't.
Thank you, Shane. He's just here to break the tension.
Don't know. That's fine. Anyway, the other thing you were going to talk about was this Phil Steele list.
Yeah. I stumbled upon this. Well, as many people have, we both realized we haven't even got magazine yet, which is shocking because we had the entire week off last week, and that should be magazine week. For us, honestly.
I know.
But I stumbled upon it online, and Phil Steele claims that Nebraska's schedule is the easiest in the conference in the Big Ten, which at first glance I never agree with because we're so used to Nebraska football having just a ridiculous schedule that I almost just self-reported it myself and went along the lines of, no, I don't think he's correct. But when you do actually look through the list and you assume what we know of the teams that they're going to face, and also
which is always dangerous, right?
And then also somewhat the order in which they come into, I think that the biggest misperception he has in this is that he's only going off of the teams that they're playing and not the order in which, and also not kind of the strategic dates and placements that they are coming in.
That's
as well.
fair. So my initial reaction, because DB and I have gone pretty in depth on the schedules, with kind of ranking the quarterbacks and what their schedules look like and that type of thing. We mostly Wisconsin's definitely the hardest.
100%. And Sam said it yesterday, if they went 5-7 with that schedule, that should be looked at as a success.
It should be. And he said hardest in the country. I haven't looked outside of the Big Ten enough to make that claim, but I can't imagine a much more difficult schedule than what Wisconsin's bringing to the table. At first blush, my thought when DB and I were going through this was that there were probably 3-ish teams in the same neighborhood as Nebraska in terms of their schedule. Now, Nebraska being one of the easier schedules, I agree with. I know that we've all got a little trauma from past Big Ten schedules where we feel like Nebraska kind of got screwed a little bit, and probably did. Not saying it was planned or nefarious, just the schedules did not break well. And I really do think this is a pretty manageable schedule. I thought last year's was also a pretty manageable schedule.
And a lot of people agreed with that sentiment, too, of last year's.
Now, again, Indiana ends up being way better than we anticipated last year, so that kind of threw a wrench in things a little bit. But I think you look at it, and I don't really have a problem with them saying that it's the easiest schedule in the Big Ten. Like, after we had gone through this, I knew Nebraska was in the top 3 to 4 in terms of most manageable schedules, at least on the surface.
Now, this is the issue I have with this when this comes up, is if Nebraska has success this season, people can point then to the fact that, oh, well, their schedule was the easiest. That's why that they were successful. Not because of everything else that's come up, not because of everything else that's been put in place beforehand, but they can point to the Indiana factor and just say, well, they didn't play X, Y, and Z team in their conference, so that's why they were so successful this season. And obviously, this is going to be, fool's gold by the end of the season, depending on where Nebraska actually ends up. But if Nebraska, as you have thought and have said, goes 10-2, many people would just say, well, it's because they didn't have to play Ohio State, and they didn't have to go on the road to Oregon, and they didn't have to, play these certain teams, or they didn't get an Iowa road game, or whatever the case is. They'll find a way to be able to diminish what has been put in place for success. And that's the part that I don't like about this sort of thing, because when you look at the schedule itself, I still think that October 4th to October 17th stretch where you go at home against Michigan State, on the road to Maryland, and then follow up with a Friday night game at Minnesota, to me, and I understand there are tougher games, and also that travel schedule from November 1st to November 22nd, USC, UCLA, Penn State, I understand that that's tough.
That's rough, yeah.
That October,
you do have a bye week in there, though, which
right.
helps.
Those first 3 weeks of October, to me, could almost be the defining stretch of Nebraska's season. Because if one of those games does not go the way Nebraska fans hope they do, or the program hopes that they do, those are going to be losses that I think that they would look back on like we did many times this past year and say, what happened? How did that game get away from us?
Yeah, and that's a stretch where Nebraska can say, okay, we've passed the teams that we feel like we should be better than.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That Nebraska, to be clear, has not been better than for the most part. Like Minnesota's got a win streak against Nebraska. Michigan State's beaten Nebraska, a decent amount of time in recent years. I don't have the recent record off the top of my head, but like Michigan State's a team Nebraska has struggled with. Minnesota's a team Nebraska has struggled with. Going on the road at Maryland, obviously 2 years ago they lost that game.
And some people are high on Maryland. Some people are like, they're seeing something out of the Terps.
I don't know what those people are seeing. I think they might be. I think they might be having some.
I might be listening too much to the outside freight then.
Yeah,
I've heard good things about Maryland, but I'll do my best here.
I think
I can step back and say I don't know. I'm not in the Terps program.
I think Maryland's probably in the bottom third of the Big Ten. That would be my guess. But again, these are programs where Nebraska kind of needs to show that they've gotten better than these guys, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you go to USC, UCLA, Penn State, Iowa,
Final Four is tough.
I think people understand, hey, USC is a program with a lot of talent, a lot of history. I think nationally is considered sort of in the same neighborhood in terms of respect as Nebraska, even though it's a very different program. I think that's a game you're like, okay, maybe we haven't caught them talent-wise yet. Because USC, for all their problems under Lincoln Riley, talent really has not been one of them.
No,
Depth, maybe sometimes, but they always have very high-end talent.
Yeah.
So that I think that's the thing that people understand a little bit. I don't think they'd love a loss to UCLA, but you go, it's at UCLA, lost to them last year. They've got a 5-star quarterback now. Like, I think that's one where people think Nebraska should win. I think Nebraska should win, but a little bit more understandable. Penn State, that's a playoff team. It's on the road. I don't think people blink twice. Now, Iowa's a team that Nebraska fans feel like they should be better than, but the recent history tells us that that's not been the case very often.
Yeah.
Right? So you sit here and you go, okay, maybe we haven't got past Iowa yet. I do think, I might be wrong, I do think Nebraska fans respect Iowa more than they do Minnesota, Maryland, Michigan State.
Agreed. Yep, 100%.
Like, I think they begrudgingly and in a bewildered state because they still don't totally understand how Iowa wins any football games, which I think is a fair.
Right.
Like, I get it. I think there is a more begrudging respect for Iowa because of they've just at a certain point, if you just keep doing it, you're like, okay, whatever. This is just what they do.
Right.
I don't think we have gotten there with Minnesota, even though it's probably closer to being true than not at this point. We're definitely not there with Maryland. I definitely don't think we're there with Michigan State. So that stretch in terms of Nebraska's perception of themselves, I do think is really important to navigate well.
And you can also, with Nebraska's schedule in terms of someone like Phil Steele coming in, you can look at the schedule and point to the 3 games in which Nebraska is facing its 3 toughest opponents. It's almost pretty obvious that you can go Michigan, Penn State, Iowa, I think.
Yeah, so I think you can make an argument for USC.
I think so, too.
I think you can make an argument for USC.
But in either case, if you're saying, okay, rank the 3 toughest games on Nebraska's schedule, again, from Phil Steele's perspective.
You have 4 options.
You have 4 options, and the final 2 are not, probably borderline top 25 teams, right? Maybe.
Depends. Obviously, Sam thinks that USC is going to be really good. So I don't, like he said that yesterday. So I don't know. I know some people gave him a little bit of pushback. I don't know what you do with USC. Maybe they're a little bit better than that. If Gronowski's good at Iowa, maybe they're a little bit better than that. So I do think there's a chance that all 4 of those are top 20 teams. And you look, if you do that, then you go, okay, well, maybe that isn't that easy of a schedule.
Right, and that's what I was going to get to next is you look through this schedule, and by the time we hit September 20th against Michigan, this entire schedule could look completely different.
Yeah.
Because who knows if Michigan's going to be able to keep up with, some of the stuff that they've had in their offseason and some of the question marks that we've had. So that's
the thing is,
right?
like, maybe Michigan, I think Michigan's going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
I am more bullish on them long term than I am this year.
Do you know?
Because you get suspended coach and true freshman quarterback.
Yep.
Like, that's a weird combination, and it's reasonably early in the season, especially considering when his more suspension actually falls. Like, that's a weird spot for them, for Michigan.
The more we get closer to kickoff for week 1, and the more that Michigan game, more we hear from Michigan, the more that other stuff comes out, you hear from their fall camp and everything else, doesn't it somewhat give you the same vibes as 2016 Oregon? It's such a big matchup. It's huge for Nebraska. It's a chance for their coach to prove in a big moment at home. And Michigan is coming off of this dominant run just a few years ago. Everyone still believes in the Michigan brand. They're on their way back up. Oregon that year had the same thing. They had Helfrich as the head coach. He was coming down. Everyone saw on the schedule, oh, great, Oregon's coming to Nebraska. They are going to run them out of the stadium. And what ended up happening by the end of the season, that Oregon win was great in the moment. And it was a great brand victory and a great brand moment and one of the best moments of the past decade at Memorial Stadium. But then it ended up kind of being like a, glad we won that one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying that Michigan is going to be the exact same as that, but I'm starting to get just more and more of those vibes of just the general atmosphere of what that game could end up being by the time that we get there.
So if we sit here and go, okay, let's say Michigan ends up going 8-4.
Right.
Right.
That's a good win. That's a good win.
It's a good win. It's not a...
Assuming you win.
Yeah, if you're able to win that game, it's not a, program-defining win, right? Good win, and maybe from a brand standpoint, it ends up being a program-defining win, but in terms of the season, probably not. The game that's probably going to end up being that, I would imagine, either way, is at Penn State.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, listen, you're not mad if you lose that game in all likelihood.
There's different ways you can lose that game, though.
Sure, 100%. Like Ohio State last year. You lose that game, that's the clear best team in the country. Nebraska was a couple defensive lapses away from winning that thing.
Yep.
You know, Jeremiah Smith got loose on a concept a couple times, and that was the ball game. But other than that, Nebraska looked like the better team for 2.5, 3 quarters.
Yep.
So you sit there and you go, okay, that's a game where you think you're closer than maybe you would have otherwise, right? Definitely closer than you think you were after the Indiana game.
Yep.
Right? So Penn State could go a lot of different ways. I do think you're right with Michigan, though. Michigan very well end up being bigger in the moment than it is by the end of the year. Colorado the same thing in Deion's opener, right? With TCU. Yep. TCU's coming off a national championship appearance. I think people who knew college football was like, this team isn't going to be – I don't think we thought they were going to be as mediocre as they were. I think they went 6-6 that year.
Yep.
But
they were a top 25 team coming in.
Yes, they were. It was a ranked one coming in. But I think you sit there, and if you know college football, you're like, they lost a lot. It was kind of a lightning in the bottle thing last year. Like, if this TCU team goes like 8-4, 9-3, like that's a pretty good year for them this year.
And Colorado had everything to gain in that game.
And then Colorado ended up not being good that year either, right? So it was a challenging, like, that's the challenge of the schedule talk, right? And that's why DB doesn't like it very much.
Yeah.
But I do think there is, like, you identified that 3-week stretch in October. Obviously, we identified the 4-week stretch to end the season in November. I do think there is some value in identifying, hey, there's some opportunities here. I do think there's more challenges than maybe hearing, Nebraska's got the easiest schedule in the Big Ten leads you to believe.
Yeah, right.
Just because, and we can get to this in a second here, but, you know, when you're talking about 9 conference games in a Premier League, you've got a non-con against another power conference team in Cincinnati. That's 10 out of your 12 games are power conference games, right? And you're looking at it, you
Don't
go,
let Greg Sankey hear that.
Well, I mean, we're going to bring up Greg Sankey here in a second, but you look at that and you go, okay, just because it's the easiest in the Big 12 doesn't mean that it's an easy schedule, right? Like easy versus easiest in like a subset are very different things. Like the easiest class in medical school is going to be harder than the hardest class in middle school, right? Like that's a thing.
That's
right?
a good way to put that, yeah.
So, like, the hardest schedule in the Big 12 may be – Big 12 is a bad example because I actually think they're good this year.
Yeah.
The hardest schedule in the ACC may be easier than the third easiest schedule in the Big 10, right?
Good point.
So, like, I do like to provide context here. I do think this is a very manageable schedule for Nebraska. We identified 4 games without any question that could be really challenging, possibly top 20 games. And that didn't include any of the 3 teams that you think is the most pivotal stretch in their season.
I know, yeah.
So, like, I do like the context of, yes, I think it's a manageable schedule. Yes, I also think Nebraska, if they navigate this the way I think they can and go 10-2, absolutely deserves their flowers for doing so.
Absolutely. And I think the reason I identify October 4th, 11th, and 17th, Michigan State, at Maryland, at Minnesota, more, is because the Matt Rule era so far has been defined by, like you have said, some of the games in which Nebraska, at the end of the game, held up their hands and said, what happened? How did that happen to us? And if you
Iowa and Illinois last year,
if you overcome those games, because they are going to be closer than you want them to be, there are going to be some mistakes that your team will likely make in games, like you have said, that you feel as a program that you are past them, that it is time for Nebraska.
That you should be.
Right. It's time for Nebraska to take a step above those type of programs. If Nebraska handles that 3-week stretch, to me, it doesn't matter what they do in their premier games against Penn State, because you have already overcome some of the faults and failures of past years, and that shows improvement in the program once you move on and overcome some of those missteps. Because once you get past those, so in this sense, if you go 0-3 against Michigan State, Maryland, Minnesota, there will be louder gripes than the celebration if you went 3-0 against USC, UCLA, and at Penn State. You would get a lot of celebration, but then at the end of the season, you went 0-3 in one stretch and 3-0 in the next. A lot of people would be like, I don't understand what this team was.
Yeah,
they would look at missed opportunities rather than the high point of a season against 3 premier programs.
And I do think that's been a struggle for Nebraska in general, is matching the high points with raising their floor.
Yes.
Right?
That's a great way to put that. Yes.
There's been moments where you go like, oh, this is a team that can play with almost anybody. I mean,
that was all last season. That was the entire that's 2024 in a nutshell.
Ohio State was clearly the best team in the country by the end of last year,
yes.
right? Like I don't think there's any question. They were just running through people in the college football playoff. That was a great football team, right? So you take that and you go, okay, you look at their season, you look at Nebraska's season, and you think, hey, they must be worlds apart. And then you look at the game they actually played one another.
Yep.
And if you took the score off the TV and showed it to somebody for the first time, it would have felt like Nebraska either won that game or had an opportunity to win that game for 3/4 of it.
Yep.
Right? And so you sit there and go, okay, that doesn't make a ton of sense when you look at a loss to UCLA or getting your head beat in Bloomington or whatever, or blowing a lead against Iowa or blowing a lead against Illinois. Like, Iowa and Illinois aren't as good as Ohio State. Yep. That's not a hot take. That's just what it is.
Yep.
If you can stay that close and be ahead of Ohio State for the way Nebraska was for as long as they were, that's you should beat Iowa and Illinois then. Like, that's the frustration. So that, to your point, you need the consistency of a raised floor so that you don't have these bottom out moments where you just end up throwing your hands up in the air and you go, oh my. And that's what I'm betting on. When I say 10-2, that's what I'm betting on. I'm betting on the culture being set in a way, the depth being established in a way, the talent having been put in positions to be successful in a way that you're not going to just have the floor fall out from underneath you a couple times a year, and you end up with like Charlie Brown on his back looking up at the ceiling after trying to kick the football, and you're like, what happened?
I mentioned the 2016 Oregon game before. That season was so interesting because that entire year, as good as Nebraska got, as highly rated as they were.
That's the 7-0 start under Riley, right? Yeah, okay.
It never felt like, at least for me, I remember back in that time period, it did not feel like Nebraska's floor ever raised in that situation because the games were so close. There were still the mistakes. And then you clearly saw it the next season when the program fell into a shell of itself going 4-8 or whatever the case was.
So I also think the context of the program in that time period was very different.
Right, true.
Because Pelini really had raised the floor to a point where you're just like, okay, this is at the very bare minimum what we're getting. Now, the bottom fell out against really good teams.
Yes.
But you didn't have typically losses to teams you thought you were better than. You had losses to teams that you thought you were trying to catch, and bad losses to teams you thought you were trying to catch. So I do think within just a year removed from the Pelini era, it wasn't going to feel like the floor was raised because we felt like we knew where their floor was.
Right.
The floor had fallen out. Like in the last 6 years.
Fallen out.
Like they're cratered to the center of the earth.
But see, that's my point, is that you already can tell now the floor from what the program is saying. People inside the program, people around us talk about what we even say. The expectation of the floor has risen.
The expectation has. We don't know if the actual floor has.
And that's the huge test this season, is that they have to meet the expectation of where they should be.
And I think, and we can get to this later as we continue schedule talk, but as we talk about special teams and Mike Eckler, if he is anything what he was at Tennessee in terms of being able to elevate the special teams, that by itself, I believe, raises the floor.
Yep.
I do want to get into the schedule talk between the SEC and the Big Ten and some things that Greg Sankey said. We'll get to that next year on Hurrdat Sports Live.
At Centrus Federal Credit Union, we understand that the journey of building your own business typically starts with modest beginnings. With a little help from our team of experts and small business loan offerings, you can take your vision and transform it into a more concrete reality. Centrus Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Went back, comes in, she makes the catch, and it's a chance for a game-winning double play. That's how it ends. The Arkansas Razorbacks are headed back to Super Regionals.
What kind of goes through your mind as you're preparing to give that final speech?
It's the worst speech of all time because you don't want to rehearse it because then it sounds like you knew it was coming.
It was 12-0. Like we were kind of anticipating, okay, like this is gonna end tonight. Like nobody wants it to, but it's going to.
10, 20 years down the road, the wins and losses, you don't remember them. All the success is great and it is very memorable, and those are part of the good memories. But I think the time we have together on the bus, in the locker room, at practice, on the field, are what lasts a lifetime.
Where you gonna go when the ship breaks?
You just go out there and you look those kids in their eyes and try to articulate to them how much they mean to you and this program. And then when you finish and you stand there and watch everybody, and it's hard. I mean, there's no other way to put it.
Here with Nebraska volleyball, Skylar Pierce. Skylar, you're just telling me this is your second year helping at Harrison's camps. You told me there's a lot of kids here that even recognize you. How special is that for you?
It's so special just because you never really understand the impact that you're making on people, but when you come to these events or like even other sporting events, you just can see their face light up, and it's just such a wholesome feeling.
Yeah. Why is it so important for you and this Nebraska volleyball team to give back to the community?
Nebraska does so much for our team, the fan base, everything. Like, they love our team so much, so the fact that we get to come back and like hang out with these kids that just love the sport so much and love hanging out with us, it's a really cool experience.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
It is absolutely, fully, 100% correct that in the SEC we play 8 conference games while some others play 9 conference games. Never been a secret. Second, it's also correct that last season, all 16 members of the Southeastern Conference played at least 9 games against what you would label power opponents. We had several that played 10 of their 12 games against power opponents. Some conferences have that, some don't.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centrist Federal Credit Union. That's Austin Jacobsen. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, reminding you that Centrist Federal Credit Union has you covered, no matter what you're looking for in your financial institutions. We talked about mortgages yesterday. Some people maybe just need checking and savings.
Super yachts.
Super yachts. I haven't checked with them if they finance super yachts yet. We'll get back to you on that one.
We'll get back to you.
They do houses, though. They also do savings. Whatever your savings goal, Central Federal Credit Union has you covered and has the accounts and the team to help you reach those goals. From savings accounts, money markets, certificates, and IRAs, their experts will help you set up personalized savings plans that meets your needs and your goals. Visit centristfcu.org today to check out their different savings options and open an account today. Federally insured by NCUA. All right. We heard Greg Sankey there. Jackwad. Greg Sankey. No.
Yeah, why didn't anyone yell at him yesterday?
Well,
everyone was all mad at me.
He didn't talk about Memorial Stadium.
That's
why. No, Greg Sankey, and this is sort of what we talked about yesterday with sort of a cold war between the Big Ten and the SEC as these two powers.
This felt like an indirect shot. Because you could tell exactly who he was talking about.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was not even thinly veiled. Like, this was a shot at the Big Ten and reminding them. But here's the context of what he said. You heard the comments that Shane played there. And then the comment that got me is he goes, I don't think there's any team that would trade their schedules for what our teams face. And he said, the level of rigor is unique. And here's the thing. That's only true if you buy the BS that the SEC is actually as good top to bottom as they want you to believe.
Unless, of course, the SEC could be potentially a Ponzi scheme.
It is 100% a Ponzi scheme. It is 100% a Ponzi scheme. That's my point. This only holds up under the guise of, well, we play like. No one would want to take I'll take your. There's some schedules like the SEC I would take.
100%.
I would take. Honestly, I think I would take every schedule in the SEC over what Wisconsin plays this year.
Yes.
Now they play one SEC team and then 9 Big Ten conference teams because that's famous. That's 10.
That's 10 power conference teams.
10 power conference teams. That's much like Greg Sankey was saying.
So they must get an automatic playoff bid if they play 10 power conference teams?
No. If they win their conference, they do.
Oh, that
if they
makes
win
sense.
their conference,
Fair,
they do.
Fair.
But what this is all really about is posturing over who gets to make the decision on what the next playoff format looks like. That's why he brought up several times. He go, we can stay at 12. We can stay at 12. That's his leverage against the Big Ten is everybody wants to move to 16. There's more money. There's more everything. More people get in. Everybody wants to move to 16. His leverage is, hey, I will blow this thing up to stay at 12 if I don't get my way, right? That's why he keeps bringing we can just stay at 12 if we don't. Because literally all the conference commissioners and Notre Dame signed it's called an MOU. I can't remember what it stands for. But basically it's an understanding that the Big Ten and SEC basically get to decide how this goes. When they were negotiating the new TV contracts with ESPN, it's like mission of understanding, or said something like that. Memorandum of understanding. Yeah, a new mission wasn't right. Memorandum of understanding. Basically, it's a document saying they all agree to let the Big Ten and the SEC decide how this is going to go in exchange for getting the TV rights monies that ESPN was promising without having a new system in place for 2026. That's what this is all about. And a decision has to be made by December 1st. So we got a few months still. But the Big Ten wants the guaranteed spots we talked about. 4 for the SEC, 4 for the Big Ten, 2 for the ACC, 2 for the Big 12, 3 at large, and 1 group of 5.
Yep.
That's the 16 that the Big Ten wants. The SEC recently moved to a 5-11 model. 5 top conference championships, 11 open at-large bids. My argument is, in a perfect world, 5-11 works.
100%.
This isn't a perfect world, and the SEC is going to try and get 5 and 6 teams into this stupid 5-11 model.
Because they know where their 16 will end up in most voting polls because
it's a Ponzi scheme.
Exactly.
They've convinced everyone not in this building that their schedule is, and their teams are just inherently better than everyone else's.
Everybody.
And for a while, that may have been true. That hasn't been true for quite some time. Look at head-to-head results. Look at the last 2 national champions. Look at what happens in bowl games. They're like, oh, Ravi, bowl games don't matter. Well, you still got beat, right? That does matter at a certain point. So I sit here and I go, okay, the only thing that holds this up is this myth that they're better than they are.
Yep.
And listen, the top of the SEC is very good. It's very good. So is the top of the Big Ten, by the way.
Which I would take the top of the Big Ten this season, last season, and the season before, than the top of the SEC the past 3 seasons as well.
I would agree. But if you go past the top, 4 teams, what are we talking about here? We're talking, LSU hasn't held up their end of the bargain since Brian Kelly got there.
Auburn's been a mess. LSU can't figure it out. Alabama has now taken a significant stride backwards.
Absolutely. No Saban at Alabama is a huge hit. You look at Ole Miss. They were supposed to kind of raise up last year. They've struggled a little bit. And I love Lane Kiffin. But they're not any better than some of these other teams we're talking about in the Big Ten that are in that second tier of teams. Mississippi State's always a mess. Vandy had their best year ever, and they won 6 or 7 games.
Georgia's slight step back is a huge step backwards in terms of where they're competing against Ohio State and Oregon and the rest.
And Kirby Smart's trying to – he had hacked the previous system. He knew how to win in it. He's trying to figure it out now. Ohio State seems to have hacked the current system, so maybe they've got to step up here.
The best thing they had going for them last year is that Texas joined their conference right when Texas peaked at the right time.
Yeah. The best team in their league last year was a Big 12 team 6 months before that.
Yes.
And now they're like, oh, well, we got Texas. It's like, well, now you do.
But then they failed to include the fact that Oklahoma was also included, and Oklahoma
lost to Vandy.
Yes. And then also disrupted their ability to handle Alabama's path to the college football playoff then as well.
Absolutely. So you say, okay, so you're telling me I'm supposed to be scared of Kentucky more than I am Minnesota? Minnesota's been better than Kentucky. I sit here and I go, okay, I top 4 for top 4, fine, whatever. Call it even. Even though I think you're right, Big Ten's probably been a little better in the top 4 the last few years, right? We'll call it even though Alabama's not what they were.
Right.
Even though LSU's not what they have been. Even though we don't know what Texas is, we're giving them a lot of benefit of the doubt for a guy that has never started a quarterback for a season.
You're almost just making an argument about brand. That's what you're more arguing about.
This is the point. Because perception, this is why I called it a Ponzi scheme. Perception and reality are not the same thing. You think you're getting something from these teams. How often, and listen, there were times in years past when Nebraska was coming off of their run where they were the benefit of perception being better than what the reality of the situation was. Notre Dame has been the benefit of this for years. Now they're actually good again. I love Marcus Freeman. I really do. But they've been the benefit of they're like, oh, it's Notre Dame. They get a little bump just from being Notre Dame. Florida State's been the beneficiary of this. They're coming off a 13-0 season, even though that roster got decimated last year. And they're like, oh, that's I think they were top 10 preseason again last year. They were terrible. Very, very bad. Now some weird things happened, but should not have been a top 10 team losing all they did. So you've got these brands that just get the benefit of the doubt. And it's harder now because of the transfer portal and player movement and coach movement and all of these things. It's harder to be a Phil Steele or a Brett Ciancia at Pick Six Previews and to get it right in terms of what you think a team's going to be. It's very college basketball-esque now where you've got all this movement and you don't know how the guys are going to gel and things like that. But that's sort of the point. This is why I was so mad. I mean, we're merging a couple topics into one here, but that's why I was so mad about all the benefit of the doubt that some of the SEC quarterbacks were getting. It's why I've been so mad about the benefit of the doubt that these SEC we're just assuming Auburn's not going to be trash again. When's the last time Hugh Freeze was good at a power conference level?
I know this has been a huge gripe of you and DB, but there's a huge assumption that Florida is taking a gigantic step next season as well.
Yeah. Guess what Florida was last year? A mediocre football team.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're like, oh, but you get a full year of DJ Lagway and blah, 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 and whatever. It's like, yeah, they're still going to have a lot of the same problems. We hear this all the time, right? Nick Sirianni was just telling me about this yesterday. Ultimate team game, right?
Yep.
Ultimate team game. And I believe it, right? That's why I'm better at evaluating basketball than I am football. It's easier to isolate what guys are. Too much interconnected parts. And without having played football at a high level, really hard sometimes to identify, well, this is this guy's job, and he's doing his job well, but the people around him are bad. And it's really hard sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So we're on ultimate team game. We're just counting on DJ Lagway to raise that football team. Now I get they've brought in some talent. I do.
Mm-hmm.
They had some talent last year too, and they were pretty bad. And if the schedule's as hard as Greg Sankey wants me to believe it is, if it's a daunting schedule and nobody in the country would trade for that schedule, you think Wisconsin and Florida would trade schedules? Let's look them up right now. You look up Florida's, I'll look up Wisconsin's.
Go game for game.
Let's go game for game.
Game for game. Well, we got a banger to start.
Who do we got?
All right. LIU visits Florida August 30th at 6 o'clock.
Is that Long Island?
Yeah, that could be
LIU.
anyone. The LIU Sharks.
Good Lord. They've got Miami of Ohio. I'm taking Miami of Ohio over LIU.
Okay. How about South Florida visiting the Swamp on September 6th?
South Florida versus Middle Tennessee State. I will take South Florida, so we're 1-1.
Gotcha. Okay, so Florida then has notably their first conference game beginning in week 3. They travel to Death Valley at LSU.
Wisconsin got at Alabama. Probably a wash.
Probably. I'd agree. I would take that as a wash. Yeah, pretty even.
What's the next one?
Florida is at Miami. September 20th.
Versus Maryland. At Miami's probably worse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so Florida is then at Texas A&M, vaunted Aggie Stadium.
At Michigan, probably a wash.
I would agree. Actually, that's very fair. Yep. Mississippi State is at Florida, October 18th.
Iowa coming to Wisconsin. I'm taking Wisconsin there.
Yep,
So we're at 2-2-2.
Yep. Let's see here. Georgia is at Florida, November 1st. After a bye week.
Ohio State and Wisconsin. I'm taking Ohio State.
I think I would take Ohio State there too. Florida's at Kentucky, November 8th.
Wisconsin's at Oregon.
Yeah, this is where it starts to get a little outrageous.
4-2-2.
Florida is at Ole Miss, November 15th.
Washington. I'm going to give that to Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's fair. And also, road game for Florida there too.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee is at Florida. Vaunted rivalry there.
At Indiana. I think I'm going to call it a wash. Are you?
I might lean Tennessee.
Okay.
I might lean Tennessee.
It's at Indiana versus a neutral site for that one, but we'll call it Tennessee. So 4-4-4. What's the last one?
Florida State
or 4-4-2. We got two more.
Florida State at Florida.
Illinois.
I'd rather have
I think Illinois is better.
Yeah,
so
Illinois
it's 5-4-2. We got one left. I think
that's all the games for Florida.
Oh, I've got at Minnesota is my last one here.
Okay, so we get an extra.
We must have messed up at some point,
Yeah.
but here's the point.
Did I miss a game?
At the very least.
Oh, sorry, I forgot Texas at Florida. How did I miss that one?
What week is that?
That would be October 4th. So that is week.
Oh, there's probably a bye.
So there's 5. Yeah. So Texas at Florida.
So you got. Let's put that one with Minnesota at Minnesota. That's a Texas.
Yeah.
So at the very least, it's even.
Yeah.
I think we went 5-5-2 there.
Yeah.
Right. So you're telling me, and we know Wisconsin's schedule is brutal.
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me that Florida, with I would call an equally brutal schedule, is just magically going to be better this year?
Right. Well, and it's that same conversation that we saw last year. And just if you listen to the narratives on the larger shows, not this show, but the larger shows, national demographics and such that talk about the SEC scheduling, how we can poke fun at how, why did Ole Miss go on the road and lose in the Swamp when they were clearly going to be a playoff team? All they had to do was beat a really middling Florida team to get there, and they didn't. Alabama goes to Oklahoma, can't figure out a way to win, and gets
Oklahoma
blown out.
Famously mediocre last year.
And they got just throttled.
And then they sit here and tell us, they're like, Alabama should still get in the playoffs.
It's the SEC toughness. It's a different level in the SEC. But then when we do the exact same thing on the opposite side, and Illinois travels to Indiana, and Illinois loses to a top 25 Indiana team last year, or whatever game you want to pick out of that, colander that way. It just seemed the conversation is so different because then it's not, it's the Big Ten's not beating up on each other, whatever. How did this team lose to this team? How did that happen? It's a completely different argument and conversation when it happens outside of the confines of the SEC.
100%. and that's a Big 12 team, by the way, that in Oklahoma that beat up Alabama.
Yes.
That's a Oklahoma team that lost to Vandy. That's a Florida team that wasn't very good that upset Ole Miss. Like, just because you tell me something is true over and over and over again doesn't mean it's so.
Yeah.
Right? That's all the SEC does. They just beat their chest and they say, look how good we are. Look, and honestly, like, from a recruiting standpoint, they do accumulate more talent.
Yep.
And they still aren't any better than they are. Like,
and we looked at the draft picks, and yes, the SEC had more draft picks, but that gap has significantly closed.
Significantly closed with the Big Ten in recent years. Part of it's expansion, part of it, but it's not, the SEC brought in Texas and Oklahoma, so I'm going to call that a wash.
And that's something that I brought up yesterday. Someone had texted me about, and they said, well, the SEC's best argument, I had said it yesterday as well, that, well, the Big Ten has 2 more teams, and they added these teams from the West Coast. That was the point. The point was it's an arms race. You have to match your opponent with what they have.
Yeah.
If they're going to bring in Texas and Oklahoma, the Big Ten, of course, is going to look to see where else they can find their own.
Oregon and USC and UCLA and Washington.
And did it work for the Big Ten?
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
They got national brands supporting each other in the Rose Bowl, playing each other for a chance to get to the college football playoff semifinal.
Yeah.
I mean, what argument are we making?
The argument I'm making is the SEC has done – the only thing the SEC has done better than the Big Ten is market itself.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. Now, they had a product to market to start with, but it's been even for a while now.
So what is – rather than keep going around this carousel and agreeing around the same point, when does the tide turn and how does it? Is it just the Big Ten has to continue to dominate and win national championships?
Honestly.
I mean, is it as simple as that, or is there something else that the Big Ten can do in head-to-head matchups? Does the Big Ten have to basically throw everything out on the table and say, no, we're going to offer the SEC every year. Every one of our schools wants to play an SEC school every year.
So I think there's going to be honestly, I think it's going to take a long time of just beating the SEC teams over and over and over again. But here's the problem, right, is you're almost never going to convince anyone that Illinois is a better football brand than Auburn, right?
Yeah.
Like that's
Great
the
argument.
real problem here because, and I'm looking at
even quality programs that have been more consistent than Illinois, like in Iowa.
Sure.
You would never convince a national pundit that Iowa football is a bigger brand than Florida, than Auburn.
Iowa and Florida is a really good one. Iowa's and Florida is a really good one because I think you're right. You sent me a graphic over the weekend of what was considered some of the biggest brands in college football.
You compare
40% of their seasons, they finished the year under 500.
Yeah. But then when you go down the list and you will match program to program, because like we did at the beginning, if you say, okay, Ohio State and Georgia head-to-head, basically a wash in terms of brand.
Yeah.
You go Oregon and whoever. You keep going down that list. The brand name of the SEC teams are almost always going to win out.
Especially after the top handful.
Yes.
Right?
Always going to win out. And Iowa's this best example of it because every single Saturday, everyone questions nationally, how did Iowa win this game? How did they do it? But they still end up winning. And yet Florida is going to get more.
Right? So you look and you go, okay, the fact that Tennessee has won a national title, the fact that Auburn has won a national title, does that mean they can still win a national title? Because that's the argument everybody makes against Nebraska. Like, Nebraska has 5 national titles. They're like, oh, but nationally people are like, oh, but they can't win another one.
Right,
Or
yeah,
they can't get back to what that was. How does that logic not apply to the SEC?
That's true. How does it not apply to their new teams, too? Maybe Texas Sands, but Oklahoma, when you look at Oklahoma and Nebraska, are they not having kind of the same conversation?
Oklahoma won their national title in 2000?
Yeah.
That's quarter century ago at this
and
point?
yes, they've been to the playoff and such, but they didn't get really that far, and they never got past the point in which they got there.
They've been good.
Yes.
They under Lincoln, under
not going to
Stoops.
discredit them making the playoff by
under
any means.
Stoops and Riley, they were good. But you look at it and you go, okay, does Oklahoma in the SEC strike you as a team that can still win a national championship? I would say yes. I don't know if it's going to be under current administration.
I would even argue that Oklahoma going to the SEC hurt their brand in total.
I think it does. I forget about Oklahoma constantly as part of an SEC, as the SEC teams.
They say
Constantly.
the Big 12, they would have been the Big 12 team.
Absolutely, right? But the money talks, and you go, and I get you have to do what you have to do. But the point is, you sit here and you go, okay, so LSU without 1 year of Joe Burrow.
This is it's my literal favorite what if, because it's very true. Where is LSU now?
Right?
Because
you've got
Brian Kelly still think he can win a national championship there instead of Notre Dame, and all this other stuff that you get into when it comes to this type of conversation. Because where does LSU then fit in the national conversation other than it's a great place to go party and watch college football and baseball?
Great atmosphere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great sports school. You love it. But you sit here and you go, okay, you got the 1 Joe Burrow year in 2019. And then you've got the Les Miles year in 2007, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got
a Saban year.
The Saban year in 2003,
mm-hmm.
a split title, famously. But you sit here and you go, okay, so outside of Joe Burrow catching lightning in a bottle with Ed Orgeron in 2019 for a great, great football team. Don't get me wrong. But you're talking about 18 years ago at 2007. What are we doing with LSU besides that? Now, they've been good. They've also been 6-7 and 5-5 and 8-4 and 8-5. And, oh, by the way, all those are in the last decade as well. Those sound a lot like things that we expect out of an Iowa and Minnesota.
Yep.
So if Joe Burrow had gone anywhere else in the country, are we having this conversation about LSU being one of these top powers in college football? This is what I mean when I call it a Ponzi scheme.
Yep.
Right? And I get it. Past accomplishments matter. I live in Nebraska. I understand. I do.
Yeah.
But the same argument used against Nebraska. Times have changed, guys. You can't expect the 90s anymore. You can't expect it to – Tom Osborne's not walking through that door. You know, Tommy Frazier's not walking through that door. You can't. The Peters brothers aren't walking through that door. You can't sit here and use that argument against me for Nebraska, but then be like, oh, but LSU's capable of winning national titles, and Auburn's capable of winning national titles, and Tennessee's capable of winning national titles, and Oklahoma's capable of winning national titles. How long was the gap? Oh, by the way, it's now been 20 years since Texas won a national title. I don't know if you're keeping track there. How long was the gap before that? Oh, it was a nice 35 prior to that. So we're talking about one title in 55 years. Nebraska's got 5 titles in 55 years, but somehow Texas is more capable of winning national titles still than Nebraska. And by the way, I kind of agree that they are, but that's not the point. What we're doing this on, making the arguments of, Nebraska's not in that place anymore. Notre Dame's not, I know they're not a Big Ten school, but they kind of feel like one. Notre Dame's not in that place anymore. But Tennessee is.
Yep.
Auburn is. Texas is. Oklahoma is. Like, what are we doing here?
Yep. And I know the whole point of this conversation from where it began was because the SEC is still trying to stranglehold more and more power. And the more that they try it, and they are trying to, they're a toddler throwing up, trying to just cry out as loud as they can until their parents give them an iPad.
Yes.
That's what they want.
Yes.
And the iPad is whatever college football playoff format that they
The iPad is the 511 model.
Exactly.
Is that all it takes?
I don't know. Famously, we don't have kids, so.
Or iPads. That's awesome.
Give Greg Sankey his iPad.
Give Greg Sankey his iPad. He deserves it. We're going to get to Gary Java here in just a second, talk a little Pinnacle Bank Championship, one of the most fun weekends of the year here in Nebraska, and honestly feels like sort of the unofficial kickoff, or like end of summer season sports-wise, kickoff into college football just a couple weeks after that. We'll talk to Gary coming up next year on Hurrdat Sports Live.
Give me that cheddar, we getting Rico. Big money rolls like burritos. Give me that hot sauce, no pico. Give me that.
Avery Howard here with Harrison Phillips. Harrison, this is your 7th Playmakers Camp here in Omaha. As you grow in your NFL career, why has this always remained a priority for you?
You know, it's really special. I don't know what jersey I'm going to wear each season. It's not really up to me. I'm very happy that I've been a part of 2 great organizations. But something that's forever true is this is my high school, and this is where I'm starting a family. I'm building a home here with my wife, who's a Millard West grad. We just had a child who's going to grow up a Nebraskan. And, you know, this one means the most.
Standing here in the Millard West gym, what do you think the high school version of you would think, knowing you'll be doing these camps in the future and where you went to high school?
Man, the high school me was pretty cocky. I would say he'd be very proud of himself. I always spoke really big goals and set them really far off. I was kind of laughed at a little bit, being a little freshman saying I'm going to play in the NFL and get full ride scholarships and stuff. But I worked my ass off to make that happen. So I'd be really proud. And I think the most important thing is bringing others along the way. So being able to be out here to these high school students, a thing that I wish I had. I wish I had someone that I could have asked about what it's like going to college, what's it like to get to the next level. And so when we bring these Nebraska football players out and these high school kids, I want to be a resource to them as well as use my platform for these pups.
At Centrist Federal Credit Union, we have the tools and resources to help our members fulfill their financial goals. With a focus on building a stronger community for the next generation of leaders. Centrist Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
What makes Banana Ball work so well in terms of the fans, the support, and everything that's gone with it?
I think it's just the breaking down the barrier between fan and player. When you go to a Major League Baseball game, even though there might not be a barrier, it might just be a net, there's a distinct barrier where like players and fans don't really interact during the game. And we're bringing fans onto the field, into our game. Like every fan that comes to our game is going to be involved somehow. Every single one of them. They're all going to be involved if they want to be. So I guess that's my advice too. When you come to a Bananas game, be open to doing anything. Don't say no to an opportunity. My niece actually, we do a fan warm up before every game. We have a little girl come on the field and dance, and the whole stadium follows the dance moves. My niece said no because she was nervous. And to this day, every single day I see her, she's like, I want to do the fan warm up. I want to do the fan warm up. So like, when you come to a game, just be open to doing whatever.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centrist Federal Credit Union. That's awesome. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, reminding you that we have great specials here, including kids eating free on Tuesdays with the purchase of an adult entree. Make sure you get out here and check out Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill either in La Vista or in Gretna as well. I do apologize. We're still working through some technical difficulties here. Every time we think we have it figured out, we are thwarted once again by
we face a new issue, but we tackle it head on. We approach the subject with positivity, right, Ravi?
I positively agree. We're doing our best. We do apologize. We will get this figured out. Or it doesn't matter. There's some updates on the back end of the platform we use, and there's some stuff as well. So
we'll get it. We'll get there.
At some point we will figure it out and we'll get there and have a great time.
Listen, you're supposed to come out of the break slow, right? That's how it works.
Yeah.
And that way we can hit our stride when we get towards the season.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's got to hit their fall break.
We're ramping up for football season.
That is true.
We don't want to come out too hot and then burn ourselves out before any of that. Todd says at least the breaks are on a regular interval.
And
right
Todd,
now.
we are celebrating that. Let me tell you.
Well, Austin is for sure. He's very pro breaks because he's the one.
Pro breaks.
He's the one who puts the podcasts up. So when DB and I go a full 65 minutes in the opening segment, he's like, "What am I supposed to do with this?"
The best part
what
too.
Am I supposed to do
the
with
best part. Do I do that a lot? My hand raiser.
No, that's a me thing.
my favorite part is when you guys go on a long tangent and then DB just happens to look at the time. He goes, "Oh no."
It's like, what do you mean it's 7:50?
It just sneaks up on you.
It does get away from you. It really does.
It does. And also, to be fair, I do enjoy your guys' long conversations, although I will say sometimes when we get into the discussions, especially about the different types of food and everything, that's when I just say, hey, quick break here. Let's reshuffle. We'll be good. We'll be good here. We'll be fine.
Yeah, no, story time with as Todd says, story time with DB is great. We love story time with DB.
He's a fantastic storyteller.
Oh, he is. He's
and
great.
That's why, like, he is. I know, obviously, I know he's a great coach, like defensive coordinator, West Side, all that stuff. That's why he's out this week doing their team camps and such. But when they get into just like their quick breaks or water breaks or halftime and stuff, I don't know how he doesn't just go into storytelling mode because, West Side's been pretty good that he'd have a lot of opportunities to just be like, hey, guys, you want to hear something about like what's been going on?
No, I think he does. I've been on I'm on the sideline sometimes, we get our credentials or whatever. So a lot of times I'll hang out on kind of around their sideline because I obviously know DB. I know some of the guys over there. I don't bother them during the game, obviously, but it's nice to just kind of see them work and kind of see how they operate. And he's very he goes into hyper focus mode. It is a very no nonsense. He's got a great relationship with the high school kids. You can tell when they're warming up and stuff, they've got a great rapport. But man, when he gets into game mode, it is hyper focused. Everything is just laser ready to go.
Well, I saw that at the state. I know it's a state championship.
Sure.
But I saw that state championship game when he
when he's acting head coach.
He had to replace
Coach Lamonji.
Coach, thank you. And I took that photo of him.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've just never seen him like this.
Yeah.
Hyper focused. It was they call it tunnel vision. I don't think a lot of people actually experience that in their lifetime. But there's only two. There's his vision going straight out, and what he's looking at is what he's looking at. He's not worried about anything that's going on the sides of him at all.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people think tunnel vision is a negative thing where you can't see what's going on outside of you. But I do think there are times where the hyper focus of needing to accomplish something, the task in front of you is super useful. And he definitely has that ability, it's actually really fun to see him work in that way because I don't know if you've ever experienced this. Sometimes people experience it with their spouse or their partner where you don't necessarily see them in their element a lot.
Yeah.
If you were to, for some reason, get to follow Dr. Girlfriend on rounds or something, right?
Yeah.
And I don't even know she does rounds, but I just watch Scrubs too much.
That's the medical show you chose.
100%. 100%. Is it not the most accurate?
I mean, no. In what way? I've actually heard that the Scrubs Hospital, some of their procedural stuff is actually pretty on.
So
pretty
that's
tight.
what I was. One of my best friend's sisters is a doctor, and she's like they actually use the atmosphere. Obviously, is very different, but the terms and stuff they use, she's they're actually really accurate.
Yeah.
They must have a medical.
I've heard the
consultant.
same thing about Brooklyn Nine-Nine that they say the police procedures. They're it's clearly not that goofy, but how they kind of do everything is very accurate.
Nine. I love that show.
That is one of the best. I've rewatched it twice. I'm feeling proud about that.
Don't have Halloween heists every year, or no?
I don't know. That's a good question. I should follow up.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they don't for my taxpayer dollars' sake, but for just the fun of it, maybe.
Yeah.
You gotta keep things loose sometimes. It's a very serious job. You gotta keep things loose a little bit.
Yeah, you do. We just gotta hang out and do our thing.
Much like Shane has to keep things loose. Apparently, he just left. He left us to our own devices. So good thing we're not on radio anymore because I would abuse not having a drop button.
There you go. You would what?
I'm just kidding.
Went full tangent or what?
No, I'd go full solder.
Still can get solder. We can go full solder here. Speaking of solder, he's in Fargo doing some wrestling stuff right now.
Yeah. This is about
Do highly recommend going and checking that stuff out because those interviews are very interesting with some of the All-Americans. He's local kids, Nebraska kids that he's able to talk to.
We get told all the time more
Husker wrestling.
Yeah.
We got plans.
Yeah, we got big plans.
We got big plans.
Big plans.
Yeah, I think Josh Doherty is going to love that. He's going to love it.
Mike's doing a great job up in North Dakota, so make sure you check out his stuff if you are interested in high school wrestling at all. But we are having some internet trouble, so I'm not sure if we're going to get Gary Java on the phone today. Okay. So we're going to effort him later in the week to make sure we do that. So we'll skip over him. Our other two guests today, Mike Schaefer and Kenny Bell, are supposed to be over StreamYard. So hopefully we will have them. But I wanted to get back to some of the things we were talking about earlier. Obviously, a lot of Big Ten, SEC, whatever. But the thing that kind of got to me, as we mentioned, it is list season.
Yeah, very much so.
I sent you two different quarterback lists yesterday. I want to get to the SEC quarterback list that was put out by Andy Staples first, because it kind of goes into what we were saying about benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, this isn't some, like, the brand list that you sent me is some sort of random college football. Now
it's also relatively subjective. I mean, you
Yes.
could maybe go into financials and you
Sure.
could find like who sells the most apparel and all that sort of stuff. You could, but
relatively
yeah.
subjective. I think that account has a good following, but it's sort of a random faceless fan account.
Yeah.
So I get it, right? But this is Andy Staples from On3.
I love Andy too.
I do too.
This hurts me to look
like
at this.
I follow him. I follow his coverage. I think he covers college football in a good way. But this is his top 10 SEC quarterbacks for the season, and this is a lot of what I'm talking about here. Number 1, DJ Lagway.
That is just so high.
Has not played a full season of college football. Number 2, Garrett Nussmeier. That makes sense that he's high. Lenore Sellers, 3. And even though I have used Lenore Sellers as an example, he played all of last year.
Yes.
At the very least, he played all of last year. So I'll give him benefit of the doubt there. But then we go, Arch Manning has not. I think he started 2 games.
All right, let's not diss my boy Arch. All right.
You big Arch guy?
Number 1 pick in my quarterback draft, if you don't recall.
Listen, I think he's going to put up good stats because I think Sarkisian's good at what he does. But like, it begs the question, all right, if Arch Manning really is the God's gift to football, as some would lead you to believe,
he's a Manning.
Quinn Ewers wasn't that good.
Yeah, that's fair. And also comparative to where everyone expects Arch to go and to be.
Like, people expect Arch to be better this year than Quinn Ewers was last year.
Oh,
Is that a fair assessment?
Yes.
Like, everyone expects the quarterback position at Texas to be better than it was last year.
Yes.
Quinn Ewers was a multi-year starter.
A draft
They
pick.
Made the college football playoff. Not a high draft pick. Like, we're not talking about a first rounder here.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
But he was a draft pick. He's a professional level quarterback for however long, who knows. But we're just assuming that this guy who has thrown fewer than 100 career passes over 2 years of being in college now, because he's redshirt and then freshman year, that we're just assuming he's going to be better than Quinn Ewers when he couldn't take the job from Quinn Ewers.
90 in-game attempts from Arch Manning. Is that enough of a profile for you to feel comfortable to be like, he's one of the top quarterbacks to return?
No.
What if I even
That is somewhere between 2 and 3 games of football.
What if I just simplify it even further and I just say 90 snaps played? Is that enough to quantify at any position?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
It just isn't.
That's a great way to. I think that's a better way to phrase it rather than saying we've seen his high school tape, we've seen how athletic he is, we know his family, we know all these other things. If Emmett Johnson had only carried the ball 90 times last year, would you feel as confident about him as the number 1 back heading into fall camp?
I mean, listen, I think Emmett Johnson can and will be really good. I still have questions.
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen it over the course of a full season from Emmett Johnson. And I think the same question, and this is no hate on Emmett Johnson whatsoever, but I think the same question could be asked of Emmett Johnson of, well, why wasn't he the starter last year then?
Right. Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Now,
that's okay. Yeah.
You can make the argument that, hey, the offensive scheme that was being used before Dana versus after, like, there's at least somewhat of a logical explanation with Emmett Johnson, right? What Marcus Satterfield wanted versus what Dana Holgorsen wants were different. That lined up better with Emmett's skill set. Now he's the guy. That actually sort of makes sense. What makes sense with Arch Manning? Why Quinn Ewers, like why wasn't he able to beat out Quinn Ewers if he's this guy? Like, we're already talking about Arch Manning as a potential number 1 draft pick in either next year or the year after.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, that could be more of a coach kryptonite than anything.
Maybe.
Right.
I don't know. But this is a guy that's what we expect of him, for him to be a first-round draft pick as a quarterback in one of the next 2 seasons.
Okay, let me just go through. I want to go through Staples' list. And I'm not asking you if you think this quarterback is better than Arch Manning. I just want to see if you are more comfortable with their game from what you have seen, from what you can tell, and what you know of.
So you're going to put me in a bad spot here, but go ahead.
Right. Okay, so
you're like, yeah, I know. I'm trying.
Are you more comfortable with DJ Lagway or Arch Manning from what you've seen?
I'm more comfortable with Arch Manning because of the situation he's in.
Okay. Are you more comfortable with Garrett Nussmeier from what you've seen? Okay.
Absolutely.
Are you more comfortable with Lenore Sellers or Arch Manning?
Sellers.
Are you more comfortable with John Mateer or Arch Manning?
Actually, John Mateer, even though that's a guy I have trouble with.
Yep, and I agree. I agree with you.
He has a much more extensive college football resume. Like, even the questions I have about him not playing a lot of power conference opponents is still dramatically more college football than Arch Manning has played.
Austin Simmons, who was not the starter last year at Ole Miss.
Now, if you made me bet who's going to be better by the end of the year, I probably would bet on Arch Manning.
Okay.
But at this point, I know more about John Mateer.
This is the one I really wanted to get to.
Austin Simmons?
Diego Pavia or Arch Manning?
So this one's really hard because Diego Pavia is actually really good.
Yes.
Because of circumstance, probably Arch Manning.
Okay.
Just because I trust the offensive mind of Steve Sarkisian, and the talent, obviously, around Mark Manning is much better. So if that's what you're telling me and you're saying, like, hey, it's going to work just because of the talent around him and his offensive coordinator / head coach and play caller, I say, okay, but then what's DJ Lagway doing on the list?
Yeah, and I agree with you. Because
like, it's either consistent logic or it's not.
That was the full point I'm trying to come all the way back to.
Right.
Because Arch Manning, everyone is banking on, including myself, for
the
our quarterback
circumstances.
draft, is the circumstances
Sure.
and his what appears
Pedigree.
to be
His pedigree.
unlimited upside.
Yeah, his
right?
pedigree.
Because his upside is a number 1 overall draft pick. That is everyone's expectation of Arch Manning.
Very least first round.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With DJ Lagway, his circumstances are worse.
Yes.
His coaching staff is worse and clearly under duress and on fire.
Yeah.
As it is. His receivers are worse. His offensive line is worse. His defense is...
His entire situation is worse. Entire situation
But
is
yet,
worse.
he is number 1 on Andy Staples' list for what?
Potential.
I would argue I'd rather have Arch Manning's potential than DJ Lagway's.
I think,
I know our guy TV is so high on DJ Lagway and his ability as a quarterback, but everything combined, I mean, we're a fan base of a quarterback that was ultra talented in Adrian Martinez that had almost nothing around him, and that we can look back at even now and say he didn't even have structural support to support the type of athlete and player that he was. That he wasn't going to match the success he probably could have had in college football.
Which I would argue is closer to DJ Lagway's situation than maybe people would care to admit. I don't know that it's as falling apart as that situation was.
Right.
But I could also make the argument that very early in the Scott Frost tenure, that it wasn't falling apart, that it was to the degree later either, right? Yep. And certainly at that point, Scott Frost wasn't on the hot seat the way that Billy Napier is at Florida, right? So Lagway, I mean, even if you were to argue about the upside of Lagway versus Manning, I think that's a fair argument to have. I think on pure potential, Lagway's ceiling is probably higher. I think Arch Manning might be more likely to reach his. I just and maybe I'm doing DJ Lagway no favors just because I got Anthony Richardson rattling around in my brain, wearing the same uniform like that. Like honestly, I can admit that that's hard for me to get past with a big, super physically impressive guy. Like I get they're very different quarterbacks. That might be part of my bias here, but I think you can look at it and go, okay, I don't even know what criteria we're using here because if we're projecting end of the season, like, okay, maybe that makes sense, but what are we projecting on DJ Lagway when Arch Manning has better circumstances at every single turn?
If you gave both quarterbacks the exact same stats at the end of the season, you said they threw for 3,500 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. Both DJ Lagway and Arch Manning, which team had the better season?
Texas.
Texas
is better.
100 out of 100 times you would
Texas
always
is
say
better.
that. Yeah.
Now, I very well might take DJ Lagway first in the draft.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But Texas is absolutely going to have a better season if that's who Arch Manning turns out to be.
In that same argument and conversation, you would also say DJ Lagway probably had the better season. All stats are the exact same. If he had that same statistical season as Arch Manning, you would say, well, DJ Lagway is probably the better quarterback then.
Yes. Yeah, which is why I would take him ahead of him in the draft.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, if you give me those numbers for those two guys, I will bet you that Garrett Nussmeier has better numbers.
Oh, okay.
I think Garrett Nussmeier.
You're a fan of the Nuss Bus?
I think he's going to have really good numbers. I don't know how good LSU is. I think system-wise, what he proved he could do last year, that he's going to put up really good numbers.
Yeah.
Like Garrett Nussmeier's a good quarterback in a system that's advantageous, that has weapons. I don't know how good LSU is going to be because I don't like Brian Kelly that much, and they've sort of struggled to win at a high level.
They threw the ball a lot.
They did.
525 attempts.
What was his numbers last year?
64% completion rate on 337 completions, just over 4,000 yards, 7.7 yards per pass, and 29 touchdowns and 12 picks.
So 4,000 yards, 29 and 12. Like, that's not far off from what you're saying. More yards, a little fewer touchdowns, a couple more picks.
7.7 yards per passes in the I mean, obviously, you have to sort these out with all the different backup quarterbacks that played and all that other stuff, and a punter that threw 3 passes for Oklahoma. Good for him. 3 for 366 yards. Not bad. But 7.7 yards amongst the quarterbacks that were starters last year. Nuss is like bottom half of the SEC.
So here's the other thing that I think is really interesting here, though. So we were talking about the prowess of the SEC or how real it is versus how Ponzi schemey it is versus whatever, right?
Yeah.
And this list is actually, I think, really telling of that.
Yeah.
How many quarterbacks do you feel like you absolutely know something about?
From Andy's list?
From this list, from the top 10 quarterbacks in the SEC, how many of those are you like, I feel very, very good?
I feel confident in saying I can close my eyes and I can watch Garrett Nussmeier, Lenore Sellers, and Diego Pavia, and I know how they play the game, and I've seen their game, and I know enough of it to be like, yes, I know how. If they did the little shadow comparison, and they're like, who is this quarterback? I think I could point them out and say that's who
Do
they
you
are.
feel confidently that they're all going to have at least as good of seasons as they did last year?
Yes, if not better for Sellers.
So I worry about Pavia a little bit just because Vandy's a tough place.
True, yeah.
So,
and I think he's more Brett Favre-ish than people want to give him credit for.
I mean, there's some gunslinger kind of like risk taker. Maybe
but for Vandy, why wouldn't you want that?
No,
guy,
for sure.
Right? Like,
but
yeah,
that can also go the other way.
Yes. Yep,
right.
Yep,
Especially when you don't have a super talented team around it. The guy I sort of, and I don't know if this is a good comparison or not. Maybe I'm just doing it because they're built a little the same. There's like a little Johnny Manziel to his game.
A little bit, yeah.
You know,
he's just as confident too.
Kind of, runs around a little bit, kind of throws it around a little bit. You're going to have some really amazing plays. You're going to have something like, I wish that didn't happen.
You know, this is the best part about this whole too. We're talking about Diego Pavia, a quarterback of a 6-6 team.
Yeah,
like,
but
what are we getting into?
So here's my point: is the talent around a guy like Manziel at Texas A&M allowed some of his mistakes to be overcome.
Yes,
I don't know if that's going to be the case at Vandy. If the talent level is not as good as it was last year, maybe it's a little better. I'm not going to pretend like I have a great grasp on Vandy's roster at this point.
It's also not going to be the same conversation in Florida, like we just said.
Absolutely. So I look at that and I go, Pavia is one where if you really put me to it, and I go, is he going to be better than he was last year? I don't know. I don't think he's going to be bad.
Yeah.
But like I just circumstantially, I think he's got more working against him than almost anybody on this list.
Well, the scales could easily tip against him. I mean, last year they had a lot of games where he was just chucking it. Like he's just going for it.
If that flips from, hey, that works out 60% of the time to it only works out 55% of the time, his season could look very different, right? Yeah. But my point is you've got Garrett Nussmeier, you feel really confident about. Lenore Sellers, you feel really confident about. And then the quarterback at Vandy. Like, I need to put that in context, right?
Right. Yeah.
We're talking about the SEC, and the third most confident guy you're about is the quarterback at Vandy.
And it's even funny, too, because these national guys are even putting people, like they're putting Archman, they're putting Lagway up at the top of
Austin
their list.
Simmons has never played, like he's never started.
No, and they're putting these quarterbacks on the top of their list, and they always add the caveat. It's almost like me yesterday being like, oh, I never went to an SEC football game. They said, well, we just haven't seen enough from them, but I'm buying the stock.
Yeah.
Great. That's awesome. You can buy as much stock as you want, but when the stock tanks, you also have to kind of eat it as well.
Yeah.
You have to be able to stand on top and just be like, oh, well, Lagway wasn't as good as I expected him to be. Oh, he had other things happening around him. You have to take the quarterback with the circumstance.
So did Enron. Like, I mean, if we're talking about stocks here, you know what I mean? Like, oh, it's a great company. They just had some other things going on here. This is my point. We got Ty Simpson in there. Do you feel like you know anything about Ty Simpson in Alabama?
I couldn't tell you a single thing about Ty Simpson.
Gunnar Stockton. Do you feel like he's going to be better than Carson Beck? No. I know Carson Beck got beat up a little bit. Or we're just assuming Gunnar Stockton's going to be better than Carson Beck. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
We're assuming Austin Simmons is going to be as good as Jackson Dart. I don't know about that. We're assuming John Mateer can make the transition from Washington State and playing the Little Sisters of the Poor out on the West Coast to Oklahoma, and what I'm told is the best conference in the country. It's either an easy conference to come into and play and win wide array, or it's not.
Yep.
So, you can't have it both ways, SEC. Yep. So I'm sitting here and I go, okay. Then I take the Big 12, for example. We did this with the quarterback draft. I can get to about 10 without even breaking a sweat. I can barely get to 3.
People sleep on Levitt.
That's what I mean.
People write him off.
They don't
have the running back.
I think Levitt was my first pick.
Yeah.
Dillingham and Levitt has like as much infrastructure as you would want with anybody.
Yes.
Like Levitt's really, really good. And he's probably not even the best quarterback in his league.
Well, and then BYU has a new issue, but I mean.
But even you take Retzlaff out of it, I still think I can get to 10 pretty easy.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I love Rocco Beck. That dude's a baller.
Yep.
You've got Robertson and Sawyer and people like Morton a lot at Texas Tech. Like, these are all guys that were productive last year. These aren't projections. All of these dudes were good last year at the teams that they still play for. This isn't even like a same face, new place thing like they do that graphic on ESPN. Like, these are guys that played for these teams last year and were successful for these teams last year, and I can get to 10 in a hurry. If you really stretch me, I feel like I can get to 12. It used to be 13, but Retzlaff's out of there, right?
Yep.
So I can get to 12 pretty – I mean, 2 years ago, we were talking about Noah Fifita, at Arizona as like a dude.
Yep.
He's like number 12. 2 years ago, we were talking about last year, people were talking about Connor Wegman potentially being a first-round draft pick if it works out at Texas A&M. He's at Houston now. He's somewhere between 11 and 13.
Yep.
Like, that's the level of quarterback we're talking about at the bottom of the Big 12.
And they're proven.
They're
very much proven.
Everybody in the top 10 did what they did last year and has a proven track record in a power conference.
It's not a guess
Almost
as to
all
where
of them.
you can put them. Like the Big 12, as much as I want to, belittle them for not having a media or coaches poll, they could have put out a quarterback poll, and I think a lot of people would have agreed where exactly what you're saying. A lot of the 12 or however many that they wanted to put out there would have ended up. They feel pretty good about that. And then also the teams that we consider to probably be struggling the most in the Big 12 don't have an established quarterback.
And there's not very many of them. I mean, Oklahoma State doesn't have an established quarterback. We're hoping it's our guy, Zane Flores.
Yep.
We do from Gretna here, but we don't know. West Virginia doesn't have an established quarterback. BYU, we don't know because of the Retzlaff situation. Our best friend, Scott Frost, down at UCF, don't really they think it's going to be Taven Jackson, but we don't really know. Colorado, we're not totally sure if it's going to be Salter or Lewis.
Yep.
But honestly, their options aren't bad. Salter was good at Liberty.
Yep.
Lewis is a super highly recruited super highly recruited guy. Lewis actually went to Big 12 Media Day, so I'm wondering if he's going to be the starter. But then we get into the guys. We get into Fifita at Arizona. We get into Connor Wegman at Houston. You get into Brendan Sorsby, who Nebraska is going to see at Cincinnati. Jalen Daniels, who people were in love with 2 years ago, is near the bottom of this conference in quarterbacks.
Well, and famously on your draft, but that's okay.
You listen, if it works out, I'm all upside there.
But you're absolutely right. 2 years ago, people would have jumped on the Jalen Daniels.
And if he can stay healthy, they still would. Like if he, and I don't know if he can or not, but then you get into all these guys that had 3,000 yards passing, 20 or 30 touchdowns. The only question mark is really Devin Dampier, the transfer into Utah. Great running threat. Don't know if he's going to be able to throw the ball enough, but killed people with his legs. I forgot to mention Josh Hoover, who some people think is the best quarterback in the league at TCU. Avery Johnson, who stole the job from Will Howard. That's how Will Howard ends up at Ohio State because he wasn't sure he was going to be the starter at Kansas State. And then you got my guy Rocco Becht. You got Sawyer Robinson, who I think a lot of people also think is the best quarterback in that league. And then you got Sam Levitt, who had the best year.
Like, I think is actually the best quarterback in that league.
Yeah, totally fair.
Yeah.
And all of those guys, save Dampier at Utah, produced at a high level in a power conference last year.
But upside, Ravi. It's all about the upside.
This is why people are bad at drafting quarterbacks.
100%.
And I'm not saying I'd be any better at it, but this is specifically the reason why people are bad at drafting quarterbacks, because they refuse to look at what was and they only look at what could be.
Yep. The best quarterbacks are the most consistent over time.
This is why Brock Purdy was the last pick in the draft.
Yep.
And Trey Lance, who started 1 year of FCS football, drafted by the same team, by the way, and he gave up a huge amount of draft capital to get him, was drafted 3rd overall. He played 1 year at FCS, took a year off because of COVID, right? And ended up being the 3rd pick in the NFL draft and can barely keep a job in the NFL now. Brock Purdy's the last pick of the draft, was highly productive at a power conference level for multiple years, and they're like, man, we don't like your upside, bud. And listen, I get physical traits matter. I get they do. But at a certain point, we kind of just have to say, what are we doing here, bud?
Yep.
I know what we're doing here. We're about to take a break so we can talk to Mike J. Schaefer from Husker 24/7 coming up next. That's Austin. I'm Ravi. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
At Centrus Federal Credit Union, we understand that the journey of building your own business typically starts with modest beginnings. With a little help from our team of experts and small business loan offerings, you can take your vision and transform it into a more concrete reality. Centrus Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Give me that cheddar, we getting Rico. Big money rolls like burritos. Give me that hot sauce, no pico. Give me that. Give me that.
Johnson went back, comes in, she makes the catch, and it's a chance for a game-winning double play. That's how it ends. The Arkansas Razorbacks are headed back to Super Regionals.
What kind of goes through your mind as you're preparing to give that final speech?
It's the worst speech of all time because you don't want to rehearse it because then it sounds like you knew it was coming.
It was 12-0. Like we were kind of anticipating, okay, like this is gonna end tonight. Like nobody wants it to, but it's going to.
10, 20 years down the road, the wins and losses, you don't remember them. All the success is great and it is very memorable, and those are part of the good memories. But I think the time we have together on the bus, in the locker room, at practice, on the field, are what lasts a lifetime.
You just go out there and you look those kids in their eyes and try to articulate to them how much they mean to you and this program. And then when you finish and you stand there and watch everybody, and it's hard. I mean, there's no other way to put it.
Here with Nebraska volleyball, Skylar Pierce. Skylar, you're just telling me this is your second year helping at Harrison's camps. You told me there's a lot of kids here that even recognize you. How special is that for you?
It's so special just because you never really understand the impact that you're making on people, but when you come to these events or like even other sporting events, you just can see their face light up, and it's just such a wholesome feeling.
Yeah. Why is it so important for you and this Nebraska volleyball team to give back to the community?
Nebraska does so much for our team, the fan base, everything. Like they love our team so much. So the fact that we get to come back and like hang out with these kids that just love the sport so much and love hanging out with us, it's a cool, really cool experience.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centrus Federal Credit Union. That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Apologize, not going to have Shave today. Again, the technology issues are rearing their ugly head. The people behind the curtain don't want us to succeed. It's okay.
It's probably my fault.
We're gonna power through.
Yeah,
we're gonna be all right.
You can. Here's the best thing. You can just blame me. I'm the bad luck of the show. That's what happened.
We are 0 for 2 this week. We are 0 for 2.
I didn't think you were going to bite that hook, but that's fine. I'll take it. I'll wear it as a badge. That's totally fine. It can be my fault.
That actually made me laugh. Thank you.
Yeah, no
we
problem.
are supposed to still talk to Kenny at 9:30. I hope. We're going to see what happens. I don't know. We actually might make it through a whole rundown today, though, because we have had 0.
Which I'm very concerned about, because then who knows what we'll talk about the rest of the week. We're going to run out of content.
Not a damn thing. I don't have anything left. I'm rolling through all these topics that I've been
unload the clip, as the kids say.
Honest, whoa.
Not my kids.
I hope not. We will we'll get to, I know that Andy Staples has I believe just put out his Big Ten quarterback rankings as well. So we'll save that for tomorrow because
I know we need time to simmer. Listen, for a show that doesn't like the SEC, we have kind of went a little too far on our SEC talk, but it's all been negative against them. That's why.
Yeah.
And Greg got it started at the beginning. Like when we led off the show
Greg's
with
fault.
Greg Sankey's comments, that
Greg's
was
fault.
ridiculous.
It's Greg's fault.
And just for him, and I know we made the toddler reference earlier, but for him to open up and just be like, I know what everyone's thinking. We play enough power conference games. Greg, no one cares. Like, you're talking to your own crowd of preacher boys that are just going to regurgitate anything you say as gospel. So
let me be clear from my perspective.
I mean, seriously, like it's just it's the most ridiculous thing that he can go up and say essentially whatever he wants to, and the entire SEC conglomerate will say, "Thank you, Greg. We appreciate it. You are correct. Anything that you say will and shall be word."
I mean,
he walks down from the mountain with 10 commandments every single offseason, and yet all of the SEC people will follow it. I'd actually maybe that will be my homework for tonight. I might go back and just look through all of Greg Sankey's like past decade of comments and just to see like how consistent he has been in his messaging.
Have you ever been to a Krispy Kreme donut store?
Yes, famously there's one by my house.
You ever like actually been into it?
Yes, yeah.
And you can see him making the donuts, and then you see it's got the conveyor belt, and then you see him getting topped with the icing there.
I'm nervous where this is heading.
That's basically what SEC Media Days. It's just a giant glaze festival, right? That's all that's happening here with Greg Sankey. I mean, I really feel like I walked you into that.
No, I
like that's all.
I'm mad I didn't get it.
That's all this is. I thought you were gonna spoil it, honestly.
No.
Like
clearly I haven't been on my game.
All this is all the media members and everybody, like they're the donuts on the conveyor belt, and that's Greg Sankey just from above glazing everything they want to hear on top of the donuts. Just that's all it is. It's just this like little echo chamber of people that already think that the SEC is the greatest thing in the world, and he's like, guess what? You're right, bud. We are the greatest thing in the world.
Okay. So the Big Ten had a very strong commissioner, much like Sankey, in Jim Delaney. Not that long ago. Do you feel that the Big Ten's leadership is what's hurting the Big Ten's brand in this argument against the SEC Cold War?
So I don't think so.
I think if they were still under the previous commissioner, it would be.
Yeah, so Kevin Warren didn't help.
He didn't do anything
No,
to really
he did not help
brand.
at all.
Yeah.
He really did not. He actually, I think, actively hurt the brand.
Yes.
Delaney, I do think helped. He was on the forefront of expansion. He was on the forefront of Big Ten Network, which was a huge boondoggle for, you want to talk about old-timey words, boondoggle.
I just thought you just made that up. That didn't sound like a real word.
Oh no, boondoggle is a real. I don't know if it's an actual. it's a term that is used. Okay. I don't know if it's like a Merriam-Webster word, but it is.
Can't use it in Scrabble.
It is. It's a lot of letters. You would get. You would make some hay. But Big Ten Network was hugely financially rewarding for Big Ten teams. So like Delaney was very, very good at his job. The Big Ten wasn't as good then.
Yeah.
Right? So that hurt them.
Yep.
Kevin Warren, under a time where the Big Ten was getting to a point where I felt like they were becoming equals with the SEC, actively hurt their perception nationally as basically seeming like he wanted the Big Ten to be the Ivy League with football.
And so demean their teams that wanted to play the sport.
Yes. So that I think was actively harmful to their football reputation. I don't think leadership is a problem now. TK brought this up earlier, and you know how I hate to give credit to other people, but I think this is an important point.
Mm-hmm.
College football in the SEC is an incredibly valuable property to ESPN. Incredibly valuable. They're also the 24/7 mainstream sports network. There really is not a real competitor in terms of
that is true.
Talking head shows.
Yeah.
You have one-offs here and there all over the place, but it is a constant inundation. And listen, I get it.
It is a standard.
You want to promote the properties that you own. We do the same thing, right? We want to promote our other personalities. We want to promote our other channel. Like we talk about NAB Preps, we talk about Hail Varsity, and we talk about the other people that work for Hurrdat Sports. I get it. I understand that business-wise it's a smart move. But it also creates this false perception, since they are the worldwide leader in sports, that if they're talking about the SEC, like I have a hard time with people that don't realize that they talk about the SEC because it benefits them to talk about the SEC and prop them up. They don't talk about the SEC because it's like they aren't journalists. Like for the most part, there are journalists that work at ESPN, but their goal is not to find the truth. The goal is to make money.
Yes.
Right? Yep. It's entertainment sports programming network, right? That's what
it's not JSPN.
Yeah,
yes.
it is not journalism sports programming network. It's entertainment sports programming network.
Yeah.
Like everything in sports media now is a little bit WWE. Like it's showmanship, and it's trying to make the most money, and it's trying to prop things. Like it is in their interest to prop up the things that they own.
Yep.
They make money off of that. And I get it. I'm fine with it, but it's disappointing that there aren't more people that consume these things that understand. Maybe it's not even disappointing. I guess it's frustrating that there's not more people that understand how the financials work on the back end. Like Fox doesn't care about college football, I don't think, to the degree that ESPN does. I don't think it's as valuable to them.
I agree.
It's valuable. That's why they pay for it. But I don't think it's as valuable to them. And
if you want to make a great argument with that, Fox had to pigeonhole their way into saying, okay, what's our window of time that we can put our best college football products away from ESPN?
Yeah.
Because if they thought of themselves as a true competitor,
as rivals,
they would have put Ohio State
Head-to-head.
every night at 7 p.m.
Head-to-head.
Every single night in prime time. But instead they were like, no, we have to find our window.
And even if it was as important to them, which I don't think it is, but even if it was, they don't have the 24/7 machine to create content. And let's be fair, it's propaganda.
Yeah.
They don't have the sports propaganda machine that ESPN does to prop up the things that they own, which is fine, right? But if you don't understand that's why ESPN covers SEC the way they do, as opposed to the Big Ten, where they don't give them the time of day nearly to the same degree, then you could come out with the perception. It's like, well, of course the SEC is the best. They're the one that ESPN talks about all the time. It's like, no, of course ESPN talks about them all the time. They're the one that they own.
Yeah.
Like that's the big difference here.
And I think that
I think. Now, there used to be actual differences.
Yes.
At this point, I think the big difference is the SEC has a sports media propaganda machine and the Big Ten doesn't. That's it.
Yeah. And it's just so funny, too, because exactly what you said at the beginning of that, with Delaney setting the seeds of success with a Big Ten network and being so
but the teams weren't as good yet.
Exactly. But
that was the problem.
But they were so dynamic in planting the seeds, finding the right spot for your crops to grow. Just go full Midwest, just do the whole analogy here, right? But then someone else comes along and doesn't necessarily nurture it, takes care of it, waters them, does what you need to. It doesn't really fulfill or sustain itself, but somehow the crops are still growing as strong as they can. And then now, if you do believe that Tony Petitti is the type of leader that can take this to the next level, you have to expand and continue to expand and grow. And how do you get more and more? And how do you eat into your neighbor's crops? And how do you buy that sort of stuff? And how do you keep that moving forward?
So you want them to go all there will be blood. Like, I drink your milkshake.
I don't want to get too far into hot take season by any means.
You haven't seen that? You haven't seen that movie?
I've seen that.
I almost thought you went Bane there.
No.
No, he didn't go full Bane.
No.
He wasn't born in the darkness. What do you want?
Molded by it.
But my most consistent hot take, quote unquote, is that I think in what we've talked about for the past 2 days, in this Big Ten and SEC Cold War, in an arms race that both are competing against, there will come a point in which they are going to be competing for not the same media market anymore, because that was a decade and a half ago. That was a big deal. That's why Rutgers and Maryland got added, so that way you could have the East Coast.
Only reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's going to become closer to brand and what you can take away from someone else. So, like, I made this argument before, and you can completely spin off of this if you don't want to go into it by any means. But I think the Big Ten should make a push for Missouri and try to bring in some other program that they can take away, but it requires some necessary stability in terms of financials. It takes some other circumstances that you can approve across your entire board. But once you can take a piece of the armor out of the SEC, then you can start to overtake it. But until then, you will keep losing the type of conversations with the ESPN networks and such, because then how will ESPN be able to spin it? You have to basically put the SEC into a toilet and try to keep their head in it, right?
Oh, I already know how they're
give them the biggest swirly you can.
I already know how they're going to spin it. Missouri was never a real SEC school.
Fair. There you go.
Like,
so you already win.
Been that good. They don't have the financials to keep up. They really have blah, 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 whatever.
Well, and they would spin it against the school. They'd be like, that team just got frustrated with
They couldn't hang.
Yeah.
They would do the exact same thing that we did to Lincoln Riley. He was afraid of playing in the SEC. That's why he went to USC.
Yep. And that's why if Oklahoma got swooped up and picked
You're
up.
like, I couldn't hack it.
Yep.
Couldn't hack it. Yeah, I don't think they were.
And let me be completely clear. This scenario is very unlikely.
It's not going to happen.
It's very unlikely.
No, not going to happen.
But
the point is that there is going to, drastic moves would have to be made to overcome the media machine that the SEC has working for it.
The Big Ten almost has to, and the Big Ten does not have the power to do this because Fox is bigger than the Big Ten, but they would have to go to Fox and just say, we need you to become the machine. We need you to overtake ESPN somehow. That's what we need you to do.
And the thing is, they tried.
Yes.
That's what FS1 was.
Thanks,
tried.
Joy Taylor.
They lined it up with personality. You got me. You got me.
You tried. You tried to
did.
power through.
I tried to power through.
I was going to hit you with an Emmanuel Acho after that.
Couldn't do it.
What, you didn't think Acho's Kevin Durant ratings were going to keep him afloat?
No, they were not.
That's an insane mathematical equation he came up with.
So they tried to overcome ESPN. They had the big nightly sports show. They had the talking head shows in the morning. They still have.
They literally took ESPN's talent.
They took Colin Cowherd. They have tried to do all of these things and they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Right? They tried to do the thing, and I think partially because of their investment in college football and the Big Ten, and obviously in their investment in the NFL and these other things too. Right? But Fox is a much bigger player in the NFL space than they are in the college football space, and than ESPN is in the NFL space, right? That's Fox's win over ESPN is the NFL. It's not college football. College football is a nice little part of their portfolio, but it is not their main stock. It's not their Berkshire Hathaway, right? It is not their, this is what we can go to the bank with. That's the NFL. And guess what? ESPN would trade places with them in a heartbeat if they could.
1,000,000%.
In terms of what they have for NFL properties.
If ESPN could get a Super Bowl, see you later, college football.
Well, I think they've got one coming.
They do.
But like they would, and they had to steal Fox's broadcast talent to do it.
Yep.
But in terms of if they could trade their schedule and slate of college football games for Fox's NFL games, they would do that in a heartbeat. But that's why it's really hard to get Fox to commit to the college football thing in terms of the propaganda of it, because they're like, this isn't even our most important football property.
Yep.
This isn't even our most important property in this sport.
Yes.
Right?
Have you seen the new Superman yet?
No.
There's a scene in it when Superman gets basically taken to prison.
Okay.
And there's a part of the prison that is being run by monkeys that are typing on computers, being haters online, tweeting #supershit, and they're just basically being trolls online.
Yeah.
The thing that ESPN has is that they are those robot monkeys that can just tweet out the SEC. It's different in the SEC. It's just different here.
It's
all that
show
stuff.
after show after show
And
after show, and personality after personality.
I wanted to make an argument that the court of public opinion, if the Big Ten does a decade-long run where they just win national championship after national championship and they dominate the college football playoff, and the SEC doesn't have any teams in the Final Four, or whatever the case would be, no matter what, at the end of the day, the trolls will always win somehow, some way, because they can like you said, they can continue to churn out content. They can continue to turn the conversation. And until the court of public opinion turns on that, the Big Ten will always be behind the SEC in terms of that national exposure and the national presence. And that's just how that conversation will go, especially in the day and age that we are in.
The advantage that ESPN has played perfectly is with the SEC is volume and volume.
Yep.
Volume in terms of how loud it is, and volume in terms of how much it is.
Yes.
It's volume squared. That's where ESPN wins. There's a ton of it, and it's super loud. And if you're not willing to play in that sandbox, you probably don't remember actual newspapers, but
what are we talking about?
There used to be this saying with don't pick a fight with somebody that buys ink by the barrel, right? These newspapers, you couldn't pick a fight with the people that were always going to have more volume than you, right? It's the same thing. It's just different media now. Like, it's different mediums. It's online. It's these talk shows. It's whatever it is. And I understand the irony of us saying this while on a talk show. Like, I get that. I do.
True.
But there's just nothing you can really do to combat that unless, and even when you go through, if you went through this decade long of excellence, like, they just pivot and they spin and they let it roll off them and be like, oh, and even if you start picking off SEC teams, you'd be like, well, Tennessee, they weren't really that valuable a brand. They couldn't hack it in the SEC. And Oklahoma, obviously, they couldn't do it. And Missouri was never a real SEC team. And all this, until you get to that tiny little core that actually matters of those 4 or 5 teams we talked about. And guess what? You know what? You want to really pull the pin out of this thing? What does the SEC look like without Nick Saban? What does the SEC look like over the last 25 years without Nick Saban?
Yeah.
Because then we really start to get real. Because I'm going to go ahead and give Saban a little bit of credit for Les Miles' title as well. He gets the 03. I'm going to give him a half a point for 07. And then you have the run at Alabama, obviously, right? And not only that, but when somebody makes a run like that, you force everyone else to step up or die.
Yeah, it's cross-state rival had to pay hand over fist to be able to get their national championship team.
Before you were allowed to do that,
yes.
By the way. Like, you literally, like, take Nick Saban out of the equation, right? And, like, you could, I know not to go all tennis on people, but, like, does Rafael Nadal exist without Roger Federer? Does Djokovic exist without Nadal? Like, you have these people that raise, does Bird exist without Magic, right? To the same degree that we're talking about now.
Yeah.
Does Brady exist without Manning in the way that we're talking about now? Maybe Brady does, but does Manning exist without Brady? Like, there's always these little things that force you to the next level and force you to escalate and force you to elevate, and it forces you. Without Nick Saban, what are we talking about? Like, Auburn went undefeated in 2003 and got left out of the BCS title game. Auburn. That's the SEC team. They went undefeated in 2003. And they're like, yeah, USC is better than you. So you get left out. This, good Lord.
I just wasn't prepared for that.
A different a different SEC team with a loss got in over you. Like, this is what we're talking about. Or I don't know if LSU, I don't remember if LSU had a loss in 2003 or not. So scratch that. But you had a SEC team undefeated. That's unfathomable now. Even if it was just two teams. If there were two undefeated SEC teams versus...
They did lose.
That's what I thought. I thought they lost to Alabama, if I remember correctly.
Florida.
Okay, that's right. Go Zucker. Way to go, bud.
19-7.
You would never have a scenario now where two undefeated SEC teams were ever left out of anything. We were talking about 9-3 SEC teams getting left out of things, and it was like, oh my God, you got to put Alabama in.
Yep.
You got to put Alabama in over Indiana.
And that was the best because their argument was, well, you have to.
But,
Why?
But it's Alabama.
But you have to. I mean, it's Alabama.
It's Alabama.
Yeah.
What do we do? What are we doing here? It's Alabama.
Forget that they just lost to Oklahoma. I mean, no big deal.
Yeah, like forget that they
vaunted SEC power Oklahoma, by the way.
Not even a real SEC team. We're gonna take a quick break here.
We need to get some real football in here.
For the third and final time today, we're gonna try to get to a guest. If we can't get to a guest, I can't promise I'm coming back for the last half hour.
You don't want me to do this by myself.
We'll see. I'm just kidding. I'll be back. Austin will be back. We may or may not have Kenny Bell with us. We're crossing our fingers, praying to the internet gods that we have internet Kenny Bell coming up next. Hurrdat Sports Live.
Give me that cheddar, weekend Rico. Big money rolls like burritos. Give me that hot sauce, no pico. Give me that.
Howard here with Harrison Phillips. Harrison, this is your 7th Playmakers Camp here in Omaha. As you grow in your NFL career, why has this always remained a priority for you?
You know, it's really special. I don't know what jersey I'm going to wear each season. It's not really up to me. I'm very happy that I've been a part of 2 great organizations. But something that's forever true is this is my high school, and this is where I'm starting a family. I'm building a home here with my wife, who's a Millard West grad. We just had a child who's going to grow up a Nebraskan. And, you know, this one means the most.
Standing here in the Millard West gym, what do you think the high school version of you would think, knowing you'll be doing these camps in the future and where you went to high school?
Man, the high school me was pretty cocky. I would say he'd be very proud of himself. I always spoke really big goals and set them really far off. I was kind of laughed at a little bit, being a little freshman saying I'm going to play in the NFL and get full-ride scholarships and stuff. But I worked my ass off to make that happen. So I'd be really proud, and I think the most important thing is bringing others along the way. So being able to be out here to these high school students, a thing that I wish I had. I wish I had someone that I could have asked about what it's like going to college, what's it like to get to the next level. And so when we bring these Nebraska football players out and these high school kids, I want to be a resource to them as well as use my platform for these pups.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
I'll preface this with I don't think Bo did himself favors. You know?
Sure.
Like with
the way he acted,
image,
yeah.
with the image, with the media,
like how he came off.
Yeah, like the appearances of it. However, like there was no one that was more in our backyard.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centrus Federal Credit Union. That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We are joined now by our dear friend and colleague, Kenny Bell. What's up, Kenny?
Ravi, my new work best friend and my softball coach in the same interview. Life is good. What's up, fellas?
Such a detracting term compared to like, Ravi got this like upstanding applause, and he's like, and this guy.
Yeah, that one's gonna hit in the office later. That one's gonna be great.
No, I think he labeled us both appropriately.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Kenny, we got a chance to talk last week and got to show it on the show while everybody was on break here, but the news hadn't come out yet that you were a Husker Hall of Famer, so I didn't bring it up. I didn't want to spoil the moment for you, but as you found out, it became public last week. I guess just kind of how did it feel when you learned that you were going to be inducted into the Nebraska Hall of Fame?
Man, best feeling that I've had, I think, in my football career, and that goes over, attending the university and being drafted and all those stuffs, or all those things that I'm incredibly grateful for. But I mean, just true humility is how I feel. To be entering a group of guys like that at a school like the University of Nebraska, a true blue blood football program, it's almost, I'm almost speechless. All I feel is gratefulness. It's a tremendous honor to be inducted.
Kenny, when did it ever cross your mind that this was a possibility? Was it something that when you were in school, you were like working towards? Were you thinking about that when you were in your playing days, or was it really after your career kind of ended, you were coming back to Nebraska a couple of times, watching games that you kind of figured maybe you'd have a chance?
Yeah, that's actually, now that you say it, I hadn't thought about it nearly as much until the past year or two, I'd say, because I was entering. I'm not sure what the stipulations or the rules are to get in. I think it's probably 10 years, a decade after you stopped playing. I'd have to look into that more. I was so excited I didn't really ask any questions. At the time, I certainly didn't think about it while we were playing. I can assure you that my senior year, I think when we were playing Rutgers, I think I broke the receptions record, and Amir Abdullah broke I think all-time yards record. We both had no idea that those were even on the table. So, and then the next week, I think I broke the record for Wisconsin. Again, had no clue that we were working towards those things. I knew we were putting together good careers, obviously. But no, it's not something that I had really thought about until I started seeing my buddies get inducted, right? Like last year, I think Taylor and Rex got inducted, which are tremendously deserving, tremendous players. And then I think about the guys that haven't got in. I mean, there's some guys that are fantastic players. Amir Abdullah, Levante David. I think of a ton of guys that I played with, and that's just in my 4 or 5 years, right? So it's an incredible honor.
So, I obviously, it's kind of funny because, we joke all the time. It's like, oh, you're just Kenny, right? And
give me just a sec, guys.
Yeah, no worries.
All right.
Kenny's at home right now, so we'll take a second here as he gets a chance to. I think he's helping somebody out.
It is funny. I know what you're going for. It is funny when I go literally back to my home, and I'm telling Dr. Girlfriend a story about oh well, Kenny was in the office today, and she was like, Kenny Bell. I'm like, yes.
Hey, sorry about that. I'm back home. My mom fell on her e-bike and broke her ankle, so I'm back home helping the family out, and the neighbor just walked over.
Oh, I thought it just happened right now. I was like, what are you still talking to us?
Oh no, last week. So
hey, Mom, sorry. No, I gotta finish.
Hey, Mom, quiet down back there.
You would know that if you were his work best friend, and you would have found out that his mom broke her ankle. So,
yep.
That's why you're just softball coach.
It's a long week. It's only Tuesday.
No, Kenny, it's funny though, because obviously, I watched you play at the university. I watched you, I get drafted and have your NFL career, and so I was very familiar with you. But then you're just you're around the office, we're hanging out, having a good time. I think sometimes I had forgotten, you were at one point the all-time leading receiver in Nebraska football history by yards. I think you still are by receptions, or you're still very close.
I think I'm second in that one.
Did Stanley get both of them?
Yeah, I think Stan got both of them. Stan was a heck of a player, and they were winging that thing. He was catching it from everywhere, man.
Yeah. So, but like, it's funny. It's like, okay, this is literal. I mean, I do forget sometimes with that. This is one of the best receivers Nebraska's ever had come through their football program. Like, has that kind of, I mean, obviously, you broke the records and held the records for a few years before that jerk Stan had to come and take them from you. But I don't know Stanley Morgan at all. I'm just saying stuff. But the, like, has it kind of sunk in with the Hall of Fame induction that you're like, no, I'm one of the best players that's ever played here?
I wouldn't say that.
I would.
And also Stanley's a great dude. I'm very happy for him. He deserves those records.
Yes.
Great
No,
player,
he's I'm sure he's great.
But yeah, that's a work best friend right there for everybody. That he's like, my boy is the best. That other guy's a jerk. That's
Screw
great.
him. I've never.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're my boy, Ravi. But no, I would say I always confidently I considered one of myself. Obviously a very good football player. I'm not the kind of person that's going to be like, I'm the best or I was one of the best. I'm incredibly grateful for my time at Nebraska. It has shaped who I've turned into as a man. I almost said young man, a middle-aged man.
You're younger.
Yeah. But no, the Hall of Fame is truly I can't even consider it like a feather in my cap, right? It's just something I'm very grateful for, to be considered by the fans, by the university, to be one of the best players is something I'll forever be grateful for and something I will take very seriously and wear with pride for the rest of my life.
Kenny, I want to ask you a specific play in your career, and everyone's going to be, it's the block, it's the big block and stuff. I actually want to ask you about something else, and if you can look at the screen too, I put it up there on the graphic. It's you catching that one-handed pass against Illinois and going in to score, and you shushed the home crowd. I'm curious, what happened in that moment? Did you mean to do that, or was there something else that happened? I don't know if I've ever heard the answer.
Yeah, honestly, I'll tell you straight up, I would never shush our student section, right? Like I was not trying to tell anybody to be quiet. I had thrown my hand up with my eyes closed and the ball stuck to it. I was literally trying to tell everybody, keep that a secret. That's between you. That's between you all here and me. How lucky that was. That's between us. Everyone calm down. Yeah, that was hilarious. They threw a personal flag on me, right? So we got a 15-yarder for that.
Because you shushed your hometown crowd?
Yes, and Bo lost his mind because the ref was like, "What?" The ref, Bo's yelling at the ref, and the ref's like, "He shushed he shushed the crowd. That's illegal." And Bo goes, "He said, we're at home. We're at home."
Was that so? That wasn't Bo yelling at you, but
yeah, I really dodged a bullet on that one because he unloaded on the ref when I clearly broke the rules, but it wasn't anything malicious. You guys know I love Nebraska. And, also here's something crazy. Illinois game, the night game, I think it was maybe our senior year. I caught a 60-yard bomb from Tommy, and I hugged the referee while he was giving the touchdown sign. They didn't penalize me for that, and that is illegal.
Yeah, you can't touch the referee.
You're not allowed to touch the referee, dude.
Any reason.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a picture. I think there's a picture out there somewhere. It's like our alternate uni game, and I was just hugging the ref in the end zone while he had the touchdown.
That's the best possible answer to that question.
Yeah.
Is keep it a secret. I didn't mean that.
It was literally that's what went through my mind. Don't tell anybody. That's everyone here. We keep that.
This is between me and my 90,000 best friends.
me and all 92,000 of my best friends. We have our own secret.
Not
stays
Austin,
here in Memorial.
Just the softball coach, but
I was there. He didn't know, but I was there. He was actually shushing me. He was like, "That guy sucks."
Yeah,
that guy's gonna be a troll. And we gotta shush him now.
So you did mention though that Bo was getting after the ref. Bo's obviously had his explosive personality come out on camera before. Did you ever catch a bad Bo rant once?
Oh man, I caught some of the. Arguably, if you ask my teammates, I might have caught some of the worst Bo rants.
Really?
Oh yeah. When I came from Boulder, 2010, I wasn't who I am today. I was real. I went through, if I'm being honest, culture shock. I felt like I was really out of place and I didn't have friends. When I redshirted that freshman year, I wore headphones everywhere. I didn't talk to anybody. I rode my bike everywhere. I was always like by myself. And then that freshman year when I was redshirting, I practiced against guys like Prince Amuka Amara, Dijon Gomes, Prince Hag, Alfonso Denard, and they beat me up. and at that time we had a culture where you either sunk or swam, and you're going to get, a kick in the butt to swim, and over again, or you're going to get a kick in the butt out the door. So they really sandpapered some rough spots out from 2010 to 2011. I got on board, and I just loved every minute of it after that.
So you mentioned that group that you were practicing it as a redshirt. Like, how much? I mean, maybe this is a dumb question, but like, how much do you think that formed you, not just from a personality wise, but as a football player? You're literally, as a redshirt, practicing against a full-ass NFL secondary.
Yeah, I mean, there was All-Americans, starters in the NFL, Super Bowl winners. First rounders. So for me, if anybody ever asked me that, just talk to me personally, my most important year of football was 2010 to 2011. It was when I developed the most. It's when I learned what it actually takes to be successful at that level, and I got to see day in and day out what competition would be like for the rest of my career. So it was by far the most formative year for me at Nebraska, and that's why I got to come in and play the ball that I did. Right, I've set a few records there, but the one I'm certainly most proud of is that I've had the most starts, the most minutes, the most downs played by Husker football player. So really that year in 2010 prepared me for my career, and there's no question. Guys like Prince Amukamara, Alfonso Denard, Prince Hag, DJ Gomes. I mean, the list goes on and on from the secondary, from that like 2009 to 2012 guys who just dogs. So a big shout out to those guys, because my career would never have taken off without them.
Kenny, I know you just mentioned a lot of guys there, but you played a great career with a lot of great Huskers that I'm sure a lot of people would love to have on the teams coming up, and especially this season. You're a Hall of Famer, but who's maybe a Hall of Fame teammate that maybe doesn't get the love, or doesn't have maybe the huge,
numbers,
the numbers, or like the biggest publicity or something like that was like critical behind the scenes, especially in that locker room?
I mean, the first person I think about is Amir Abdullah. Like, obviously, Amir, in my humble opinion, in that span, right, Amir might have been the best running back we had, and we had Roy Halou, then followed by Rex Burkhead, then followed by Amir Abdullah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think during that era, I mean, Nebraska loves Rex Burkhead, and I'll never take that.
Yeah.
That's not a hill I'm going to die on, right? That Rex versus Amir, that's not where I'm going with this. But certainly a guy that I think deserves a lot more recognition from our years is Amir. I mean, that dude is a monster, and he's still in the NFL. I think it's year 11. So number 8 was incredible. If you want to dive a little bit deeper than that, you're thinking?
Yeah. I'd love to hear someone like in that receiver room, or someone you had to go up against that, was just all personality. And
obviously Josh Mitchell. I mean, Josh Mitchell was a captain on our team. Him and I, like, you want to talk about one of my best friends to this day. Same with Amir. But Josh Mitchell and I would fist fight probably 2 or 3 times a week. Him and I were always fighting. So it was, but also that's why we were the competitors that we were. Jay Mitch tried to fight the entire Miami Hurricanes football team, starting with their left tackle. And Jay Mitch is like 5'10", 160.
He's like, I'm gonna start with the big ones. Go work.
Chop them down at the knees and go from there. Oh man.
I think a lot of people in the state of Nebraska would have wanted to fight the entire Miami Hurricanes football team at different points.
My goodness, what a night that was. You want to talk? I think as far as most memorable games in Lincoln, that 2014 Miami game was insane. Mm-hmm. I haven't heard. The only other time I had heard the stadium comparable to that was last year with CU.
Yeah,
man, were we ready to get after CU last year?
Absolutely. So, obviously, I got to ask, I've always wondered this. Obviously, one of your most famous plays is the block against Wisconsin, right? Does it ever bother you that one of the things that so many people know you for, if they just had to boil it down to one moment, is A, came in a loss, and B, on a play that didn't end up counting?
Yeah. what I think the most thing that bothers me about is that we just got smothered during that game, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like the very first thing is like, oh well, the score. It's like, yeah, the score. It was a beatdown, and that was very unenjoyable. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. But I have no qualms with my people knowing my football play by how I laid a block, because
Yeah, for sure.
it's very on character. I'm not sitting here pretending like I was the kind of guy that just got 20 targets and caught 18 balls a game. That was not how we played ball. I'd get 5 to 6 targets and get 4 or 5 catches for my little, 60 to maybe 100 for a touchdown. And then I'd get to block for guys like Amir, Rex, and Roy for the entire game. And at that time in our room, we had the Perimeter Warrior Award. So who could get the most blocks, most knockdowns, all that kind of stuff. We were out there competing as like we were playing tight ends. So it didn't bother us at all. If you don't block, you can't get the rock.
So let me ask you this. What is the play that you remember the most? Like, what's the one that sticks out to you that you're like, oh man, that happened in a great game? And like,
I definitely have one. I remember like it's yesterday. It was Penn State in 2013 when we were there. And we were playing that snow game, and we were down. I think it was 13-7 in the third quarter, and I caught one. It was awesome. We were we were on a TV timeout, and they were playing Sweet Caroline. And if you're at Penn State and it's a whiteout and it's snowing, it's loud down at that stadium. I mean, and I'm standing in the end zone and I'm looking up and I'm singing and nodding my head, and then the whistle blows and they kick it, and I caught it at the 1 and took it to the house, jumped over the kicker. We ended up winning that one in OT, and that's certainly the one that I remember the most. Just aesthetically looking around in a whiteout, I'm on the field at Happy Valley. It's moments like that. You take a deep breath and thank your hard work that you got to arrive at moments like that. Something Amir Abdul and I did every game our senior year when we all came out of the tunnel. Every single stadium we'd go to the 50-yard line, just look around, take a deep breath, shake hands, and let's go to work. Because like you want to live in that moment and be excited about it and appreciate it, but you also have a job to do and you need to focus. So we would try and do that at the beginning of the game so we didn't catch ourselves doing it when Wisconsin's doing jump around.
Yeah.
Kenny, do you ever take the time now to go back and just relive some of these moments? Because I mean, some people would call it vain, but it's a huge part of just who you are as a person, is who you were and how you played the game and some of the highlights and different games that you participated in. Do you ever just go back and watch that and see it from how we saw your career, how we saw it from the TV broadcast or from, the different highlights that people got on their phones or that sense? Have you ever just went back and kind of revisited those moments?
I can't say that I did. When I was with the Big Ten Network, we ran a show that would I'd bring back Jay Mitch and Amir came back and we watched the Miami game, the TV version. But for the most part, guys that play never see the TV versions of the games because we're always in our film rooms watching the film there. So I can't say that I go back and watch much. I'm very grateful though, because social media like Twitter, guys will post will post my highlights and tag me in it. so those are always dope. So last week when the announcement came out that Hall of Fame, I saw a lot of highlight videos.
Oh yeah,
I had never seen before. So shout out to anybody on social media that makes those. I definitely watch them. I appreciate you.
How many times a year do you get tagged in the block?
A year or a week?
Okay. Let's do a week then.
Yeah, I'd say weekly.
Do you always?
It honestly surprises me how many people tag me in it or mention it or when a big hits compilation comes out on social media, and if I'm not in it, people will just tag my name at Afro Thunder. It's dang sweet.
Put the respect on my guy's name.
Yeah, that's sweet.
All right, so we got to get into the real important stuff here. So in terms of athletic accomplishments, I know it's probably really, really close, but where would you put our season with Hurrdat Sports softball compared to your Hall of Fame Nebraska career?
Why are we doing this?
Wow. Man, that's tough.
Season over yet, so we
tomato, right? It's hard to decide. There's so much talent up and down that roster.
Who's your favorite coach you've played for?
it's hard to say. I've got a Rushmore. I don't stack rank. I just have a Mount Rushmore of coaches, you know. And obviously, Austin, you're on there.
Okay, so which one am I? This is actually very important.
I'm going to avoid that question right now.
So
I got Jefferson.
I got Jefferson.
Oh man, Kenny, we appreciate the time. Congratulations! Like honestly, congratulations on making the Hall of Fame. Like I told you this, but like I know we haven't known each other for very long, but I'm weirdly just like very proud of you. Like that's such a cool thing for you to experience, and honestly, cool for us to get to work with you every day.
Yeah,
it's a joy. So we appreciate you, buddy.
I appreciate you guys, man. It means the world to me. You guys know I love being a part of the team, and being a part of the Hurrdat team now is truly special. So I'm excited. I appreciate you guys. Big thank you to all of Husker Nation for everything, the support over the years. I love you guys so much, and I can't wait to celebrate this thing on September 13th. Let's have a good one.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks,
all right, guys. We'll see it.
That's Kenny Bell, Husker Hall of Famer and member of the Hurrdat Sports, both team and softball team.
Should he be the inaugural member of the Hurrdat Sports Hall of Fame?
I don't know. Do you think the numbers have earned it? You keep the numbers.
That's a good question. Yeah. Is he consistent enough, or are we going on his upside?
So he hasn't had to miss a couple games because he's been out of town too.
True.
So you know, I don't.
Yeah.
We may have to have to put a committee together for Hurrdat Sports Softball Hall of Fame.
That. Yeah, we'll do that.
You know, we'll see what we can do.
Best hair in the Husker Hall of Fame?
Oh, probably.
Right.
I
think it's a no doubt. I don't know like the 70s, 80s, 90s players as well, but
I feel like I'd have to check in on some of the 70s, 80s players.
Okay.
I would say definitely the best hair at the point of induction.
Yes.
Like during their career,
Yes.
I don't know. Like I'd have to see, but his is held up.
Yeah.
Very iconic look with the fro there. So that might have to be. I don't know about during playing days. Some of those 70s and 80s hairstyles were wild.
I'd still take Kenny.
I probably would too, but I just don't want to speak out of turn. I'm
That's
not
true.
educated enough on the hairstyles of the 70s and 80s for Nebraska football. So.
He's just like, there's something about just Kenny, like his aura, just all positivity all the time. That's how he was when he was a player. I remember like just being a kid and watching him. I don't want to carbon date him by any means, but I mean, he was playing in the early teens.
I mean, he's only like 5 years older than you.
Show. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
But I mean,
I think
I am younger than him, so there's.
I think he's directly in between my age and your age. I think he's like right in the middle.
You're right. People would put Kenny between us and be like, "That guy's,
I think
the perfect balance of you two."
I think so.
Yes.
You put these two together, get Kenny Bell.
Kenny Bell. But there was something. He was always positive. He had the iconic hair, and just Kenny wearing 80, and you don't see this very often. 80 just fit Kenny so well.
Yeah.
It was
and
the
80's
perfect number,
great receiver number.
And then you had Amir with 8 on there too, and like that whole like team really just like that little era. They had some really good names with numbers, jerseys, and everything. Like they all matched well. Like Rex, he was like the bruiser. He was 22. That felt like really good. He had T Magic with 3. Felt fast.
Yeah,
that was a good number. Good number case.
He was he was fast. In fact,
he was fast.
T Magic was very fast.
I should have asked. I wanted to ask him about that same game, the Taylor Martinez broken scramble.
Oh
play.
yeah,
I wanted to ask him what he was doing on that play. Because at what point do you just go, what do I do? Do you just like
you heard our boy? You know he was blocking.
That's true.
Had to have been.
But he's out for a route to start.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Oh, I know T Magic's taking off. Let's go."
My favorite part of that play, if you go back and watch it sometime today, and just watch Ben Cotton. Ben Cotton had that poor guy. He went out for a route and then he tried to block and then Taylor ran past him. He's like, "What do I
chase him? Go chase him."
That's what Rex starts doing that play. He's just tailing him the entire time.
No, that's we love having Kenny here. We appreciate him joining us, and like super cool for him to get inducted into the Hall of Fame. Really cool experience for him, and well deserved. Obviously, like I know he won't say it, but genuinely one of the best. I mean, he's one of the best football players Nebraska's ever had, and that's a storied history. I know that some of the receiving numbers are different now that they actually throw the ball a little bit more, but they weren't throwing it a ton in his day either. No. They really weren't.
Yeah.
I mean, he
mentioned all the running backs.
Yeah, like they were, and
you have to be a standout talent amongst that group of running backs in Nebraska football history.
Yeah.
To have warranted your offense saying we got to throw the ball.
Yeah,
to this guy.
Absolutely. And you had Taylor Martinez, who great runner in his own right as well. So really cool for Kenny. It's been great to have him part of the team and excited to have him during football season. as we get into our coverage here in just a little bit. But I'm glad we were able to get a single interview in today.
We did it.
We nailed it.
Overcome and conquer.
We did it. Hopefully the internet's better tomorrow. I don't know.
We'll make it work.
We're doing our best out here. We appreciate you guys joining us. That's Austin. I'm Ravi. We'll be back tomorrow. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.